Hi, welcome back to Splice Splatter, the film podcast presented by Highgarden Entertainment in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where classic horror.
It's modern gore.
I'm Siena.
I'm Al. And
happy
Halloween!
Woo! Which is our birthday, too, our pop
Yes,
birthday.
I know. It's our third Halloween, but it's our
Yeah.
full, 2 years.
Yeah, we've been doing this 2 full years.
know,
Y'all have been
crazy.
listening to us 2 full years.
Yeah, it's
Thank
crazy.
you. It's amazing.
Truly.
And what better way to celebrate Halloween than with Halloween?
Yeah, truly.
Yeah.
It's about time.
Yeah, it
3
really-
Halloweens later, it's about time. Third time's a charm for all of you
There you go.
that wanted this. So.
And
Yeah.
obviously we did Halloween 2, the unrelated.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that it's unrelated to the original Halloween 2.
Oh, yeah, because I think I've seen the original Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say I've just casually put on in the background one or two of the other ones, but otherwise I really just know the Rob Zombie Halloween and Halloween 2.
Makes sense.
So,
Yeah.
which is why I'm covering what I'm covering.
Yeah.
So.
What are you covering at?
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like finally
Absolutely.
we're covering
It was so Al-coded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
was definitely listening to Rob Zombie.
Yeah, of course you were.
Getting ready this morning. So
They say as if
Yeah.
they're not usually listening
know,
to Rob
truly.
Zombie getting ready in the morning.
truly, it's just a rotation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for these two.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's. Do we dive in?
I don't
What do we
know.
do? I feel like we're missing things.
I know.
Well, I mean, there is a reason that we're a little bit scatterbrained at the
Yeah.
moment, which is that our theater, the Jean Cocteau, our floor is sinking.
Our floor, which is very
It's very us.
yeah. I also said I made the joke a few weeks back, and you weren't in the room.
Yeah.
Kaden at the
Yeah.
bookstore, who would know the
Who would
reference, was not in
absolutely
the
know.
room. But I said we're basically based
It's-
on top of the Hellmouth.
It's the Hellmouth. Yeah. It's opening up
It's
in the back
opening
of the
up,
theater.
yeah. And so we've joked that we want to now play The Descent
Yes.
and As Above, So Below.
I think we should. I think we absolutely should.
We should cover those.
Yeah.
Actually, we should cover both of those as a pairing at some point.
Honestly, it's a really good pairing.
Yeah, it's a really, but yeah, so our live show on Devil's Night, which is also very appropriate, as I'm a devil right now.
Yes, exactly.
It was not me. Let's just be clear. It was not me. But
Isn't that just what the devil would say, though?
listen, I don't know, wink. But yeah, so our live show, it's up in the air.
I would say it's up in the air, but it's more in the
It's in
floor.
the floor.
Yeah.
It's up in the air. It's actually a really funny thing to say that. So, regardless, the
We're
film
working
will
on
be
it. Film will be
playing.
playing.
And if we decide it's we want to make the best program we can for you guys. So
I feel like we should clarify when we say the floor is sinking. You can safely enter the theater. It's the floor behind the concession stand that's sinking.
Yeah, so there's just gonna be
you'd be safe.
construction.
It's just gonna not look as pretty as we like
not
it
look as
to.
pretty. We can't have vendors in there like we
Yeah.
want. So,
So-
regardless, we might give a poster and free popcorn.
Yeah.
But the film will still be filming. All of our films will still be filming. So
And if we can't do
it'll
a
either
live
be a
show,
trick or a treat for
there you
all.
go. There you go.
And on that
There's the
note,
marketing spin.
we're done.
But if we can't do a live show, we will at least do a mini-sode.
Yeah.
One way or
Yeah,
another,
yeah.
you will get the full
Yeah.
content. We swear.
Yeah, Siena's got a lot of notes.
I have
so
so
I feel
many
like there
notes.
is where
Yeah.
we can start.
I feel like that's a
Yeah.
good way to dive in. Do you have a tidbit to start us off with?
I don't really have a tidbit, but I was looking up a tidbit because I
Uh-huh.
feel like I haven't come in with one for a while. And I kind of wanted to see if there was any relation between John Carpenter's Halloween and Rob Zombie's. And I can't remember because I talked about 2. I didn't talk about his
Right.
first one.
Right.
But I did find this interview. I don't know what panel he was doing, but this girl asked a question to John Carpenter of what do you think of remakes in general? And then what do you think of Rob Zombie's Halloween remake? I'm thinking it came out, they were talking in the
Probably
same
around
year.
07 or something.
And John Carpenter had a really nice answer to talk about remakes and stuff like that, and just how people's spins on things or whatever. And then when he addressed the Rob Zombie portion, he kind of talked about how I guess Rob Zombie had said that John Carpenter was cold to him about the remake, and John Carpenter was like, "That's a lie. I don't know why he would say that." And was basically from that, he's a little bit sour towards the remake. And so I don't know what happened, what the tea is, because I didn't dive too much into that. But I think it's so funny that they both have differing reactions and
Yeah.
stories that don't cooperate really. So I'm very
my
curious
God,
because that's got to be so
I
sad
know.
on both sides. But I'm like, they're both
Who's
sassy.
right?
So I'm like,
Yeah,
who's
I'm
telling
not
the
sure
truth?
who I believe in that situation.
So I found that really funny, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of a bummer, but also,
Not
as we'll talk
necessarily
about,
surprising.
not surprising.
Yeah.
On either side,
No.
really. So
John Carpenter has said a lot of like very catty stuff
Yeah.
about the sequels, particularly.
Sure.
Like he is not a fan of
Yeah.
sequels in general.
Yeah,
and the Halloween sequels in particular.
Sure. So, yeah, I kind of found it funny, and I'm just like, it's, I think they're so, I don't know. I think Rob Zombie's Halloween actually closed some loops. I'm curious for you
Yeah.
to talk about close some loops that I know Carpenter kind of accidentally set forth, and then so I'm curious what you're going to touch on, but that's my little tid is
Yeah.
they have a tiff, I guess.
A tiff
he said
tid.
she shed bread to she shore, so
A tiff
anyways,
tid. We
yeah.
love. Yeah. Okay, so
You have a tid?
I do have a tid. I actually have two. Well, no, one of them I'm saving for the live or mini-sode. So I have
Ooh.
one tid for now,
Okay, nice.
one tid for later. So tee up tid. This ties back into a previous tid from another film we covered that had a tidbit that tied into this film. Wow, that was a lot of teas.
Yeah.
So remember when we talked about Black Christmas on the Christmas special? I shared a quote from director Bob Clark explaining that he talked to John Carpenter about the idea of doing a Black Christmas sequel that would be called Halloween and set around Halloween.
Yes. Okay.
That had some similar plot points. However, in researching this film, Halloween 78, I discovered that it's the first half of a longer quote, that while looking up Black Christmas, I only ever found the first half of it. Here we get the second half, which
That's
is
fun.
him kind of doing everything, Bob Clark doing everything he can to be like, don't you dare think that John Carpenter stole this from me, though. This is all John's, which I think is really
Oh,
sweet. So I
that's
wanted to
nice,
bring
that's
in the
nice.
rest of the quote so that we can clear up the record.
Funny. Clearing
So-
up our own record.
Yeah. So here's the quote from Bob Clark. He says, Carpenter said, well, what would you do if you did a sequel? I said it would be the next year. The guy would have actually been caught, escaped from a mental institution, go back to the house, and they would start all over again, and I would call it Halloween. That's the part of the quote that we had in the Black Christmas episode. Here he continues. The truth is, John didn't copy Black Christmas. He wrote a script, directed the script, did the casting. Halloween is his movie. And besides, the script came to him already titled anyway, which we're going to talk about. John Carpenter is not the one who titled the project Halloween.
Oh.
He liked Black Christmas and may have been influenced it, but in no way did John Carpenter copy the idea. 15 other people at that time had thought to do a movie called Halloween, but the script came to John with that title on it.
Funny.
So, which I love to hear
Yeah.
that. And it's
Yeah.
also, especially in the context of like the Rob Zombie tiff, it's interesting that it sounds like he and Bob Clark had like a very respectful relationship,
Yeah.
really enjoyed each other's work, gave a lot of credit to each other's
Yeah.
work, very like kind of,
Nice.
yeah, mutual admiration society vibes.
Yeah. It makes sense with the kind of vibe of Black Christmas too.
Yeah, you can very much see the shared DNA.
Mhm.
And it also is making me think about Leslie Vernon, since, you know, Eugene is
Right. Yeah.
probably from Black Christmas, and part of that is the idea that it never got a sequel, but kind of the idea of the sequel would have been Halloween.
Yep.
Anyway, many
I love
tie-in
that.
tids.
That's really fun.
Yeah, so Halloween 1978.
Yes.
When did you first watch this? Tell me your history.
Gosh,
your
that's
Halloween
when-
history.
I'm trying to remember. I didn't see it until later. I want to say I saw it my early 20s. I had an ex that was like creepily obsessed with it. Anyone that listens that knows me. Yeah. Not great. I would say if anyone in your life is a little too in love with Michael Myers, they're probably insane.
Oh, no. Yeah,
Red
it's one thing to
flag.
be in love with like the film.
Yeah, no, when
It's
you
another
really
thing to be in love with the character.
Yeah, when you like putting on the mask a little too much
Oh,
in
no.
your life, I think
Oh,
you
no.
should be warned. So I have a very personal,
that's gonna
weird relationship.
give you some extra horror watching it. Yeah.
Like I love the Rob Zombie ones because I feel like the way, again, I've only kind of seen some in passing, and I finally watched Halloween 3, which I know has no Michael Myers in it.
Yeah, Season of the Witch.
Yeah,
No Michael
so
Myers, but some John Carpenter.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, so I think that was early 20s when I first watched it. And again, like I feel like I probably PTSD and blacked out that experience. So
Yeah,
this felt like
understandable.
a true first time kind of
Love.
like rewatching and letting it sink in. So what about you?
First time watch.
Do we give reactions now?
I mean, like, I loved it. Of course I loved it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I had saved it for myself as, like, I need to be in my full, like, filmmaker mode, like, fully
Sure.
engaged when I watch it. And obviously I knew we were going to cover it for the podcast. And now I'm almost like, I wish I hadn't saved it for myself so that I could have had, like, more of a, like, tradition of growing up watching it on Halloween. Because
Sure.
it very much is one of those movies where you watch it and you're like, oh, I can see how and why this has influenced so many things. Like, it has this iconic quality to it that just it's a magic movie. It's like what
I felt a little differently than you. I'm like, I don't know how to like nod for this one and agree with you.
Oh my god.
No
Did
one get
Al
mad at
hate
me.
Halloween?
Can I give you my qualms?
Yes, please give me your qualms. I love this.
I feel like this one, in kind of the same way, was like built up to be so like I get the influence, right? I think it's hard to not see like shots, and there's so many like late 70s
It's very
about
70s,
it that's so fun. I was gagged that it's October in Illinois and there's not a goddamn
Oh, we're gonna talk about
leaf that is
That's-
remotely not the most green tree I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So that bummed me out. And the lack of pumpkins. We have more pumpkins in this room than this movie. And I know you have a pumpkin fact.
Put a pin in pumpkins.
I'm putting it, okay.
Y'all.
So I'm hoping
This
you can actually
fact
make me feel better.
killed
I'm
me.
gonna,
Yeah.
I think this year for pumpkin carving though, I want to do one of the pumpkins from
Oh,
Halloween.
cute,
Because I
yeah.
love, they're just so perfect.
They're very iconic.
Especially that one as soon as like the title sequence comes up.
Mhm.
And I think it just felt more, I just,
I feel
kinda
so
made-
alive right now.
No, but even not. Listen, I like the Rob Zombie one. Everyone has
Yeah.
problems with that. So listen, take my opinion for what it is. I just felt like there was just like a lot of walking and a lot of music and not a lot of pushing forward of plot in
Which
scenes.
I think is very true.
Because here's my context, and this is
Yes.
the last thing I'm going to say.
Yeah.
4 years later we get The Thing,
Right.
which is one of the most perfect movies of,
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, in any genre of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think I just held it to a standard
It
that I don't know if it
definitely-
was a valid thing to do.
It feels more like a younger filmaker's effort than
It
I
feels
expected
student
from being so
filmy.
close to The Thing.
Yeah. So I think that was my thing is my thing. Is I was expecting, and I don't know that was it's an on me thing, but I just was a little let
so
down.
interesting.
Don't get me wrong, there's moments I think his little like yoink out of frame reminds me so much of like that's where we get Scream from.
Yeah.
So without this movie, I do not think we'd get Ghostface in the way that he
Oh,
is. There's no way that those movements weren't
Yeah.
directly
100%.
inspired
Yeah.
by so for that reason I have so much love for it being that, but just I just wish it felt more like Halloween. I think I was a little bummed.
Interesting. Oh my god, we're gonna talk so much about
okay.
many of the things you just
I was
mentioned.
so afraid to tell you.
No. Well, and it's also like I feel like I feel like I would give this like a 4.5. Like it's
Sure.
very much for me. Like if we think about the holy trinity of like early slasher films.
Yeah,
If we think
yeah.
about this Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw, I think nothing will ever hold a candle to Texas Chainsaw in my book.
I think
Like
that's
it's
my thing too.
it's
like
just like that movie to me. just gets under my skin in a way that nothing else I think ever has before or since or ever will be able to, and for so many reasons that we talked about in that episode.
Yeah.
Whereas this very much to me, like, part of what's so exciting about it is I feel like you see little bits of like the filmmaker to develop out of it. But it's also
Sure.
a huge part of what I liked about it was the camera movement. And like we're gonna talk
Okay.
about that a
Yeah.
whole lot. But it was how it was shot more than how much it scared me.
Yeah, there was a lot of good framing.
Mhm.
But then sometimes it felt like that's what it was.
Well, and to your point, saying that it felt like a whole lot of walking and music and not a whole lot of plot movement, I turned it off and I turned to Dana and I was like, okay, I have to start out by saying this made me hate It Follows even more.
Oh, funny.
Because I was like, oh, so you just like directly ripped off entire shots, whole cloth from Halloween. Like
Oh.
so many of the like long panning shots around like suburban streets that
Sure,
were
sure,
really
sure.
beautiful in that film. I watched this and I was like, okay, yeah, but this is better and it's from 78. Like
Funny. I
ugh.
disagree with that. I don't like the director of It Follows.
Yeah,
but
very fair.
Yeah. That's so funny.
So, oh, I love
But we're
this.
not an opinion podcast.
No.
I'm excited for the making of. I
Well,
don't
and
give a
that's-
shit about who
and
gives a
it's
shit
so
about
much-
my opinion.
I really enjoy it when we have like drastically
Yeah.
different feelings
This might be
on
the
a film.
First time that like
That you've like really disliked
yeah.
one that
I think
really
this is our
liked.
It Follows
Yeah.
and whatever the fuck
Yeah, this is
episode.
the opposite of what usually happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this. Well, let's see if I can bring a little more.
I
a
think
little
maybe I
more
need some
love
context.
in the
So,
in the context.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
yay.
Halloween 1978, directed, co-written, and scored by John Carpenter.
Oh, these both were the same. Amazing.
Which is part of why I like talking about this in the Rob Zombie context. I think
Yeah.
is
They're
yeah. It makes so much sense why it feels like Rob Zombie is kind of following in the footsteps.
direct
Um,
footsteps.
And of course, we've already covered The Thing and Prince of Darkness. So this is actually only our third Carpenter, which I thought we had done more.
So funny.
But I'm
Yeah,
sure
about Prince of Darkness.
I'm sure we will. I know some of the ones that I really am shouting out as wanting to cover: Village of the Damned, which I know I saw you just watch.
I know. I just watched. Yeah, I forgot that the '90s one is him too.
Which I've had that recommended to me by a lot of people on like nuclear horror basis.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Um,
you need to watch it for that.
Yeah. So like I really want to cover that at some point.
Yeah.
Also, In the Mouth of Madness, which
Right,
I got a
right,
copy of
right.
at Morgan Cripps. They Live, I feel like we have to do at some point.
yeah.
Lots of good stuff.
So many good things.
He also wrote the script for Eyes of Laura Mars, which is an American Giallo movie that came out
Oh.
in, I want to say 77.
Oh wow.
He kind of it's
gonna-
amazing. He kind of disowned the script a little bit because of what was done with it. I still think it's really interesting. I think it could have been more interestingly directed, but it's one that I would love to talk about
yeah.
at some point. So that's our John Carpenter spiel.
Yeah.
Co-written and produced by Deborah Hill, which I am okay. Spoiler alert for our film theory rant corner for the day. For a film that got so much hate from second wave feminist film theory, like particularly Carol Clover, Men, Women, and Chainsaws, where she
Right.
writes about the final girl. This is the film that's like all constructed around is Halloween. Half of this movie was written by a woman. And specifically, all of the female characters, they divided the writing work along gender
Really?
lines. So all of the female characters in this film were written by a woman.
That's so interesting that they
Yeah.
split it like that.
Yeah, which means that what Carpenter was writing was basically mostly Loomis's dialogue,
Oh,
which is,
2 words.
yeah.
He's also just
Yeah, well, he's writing Loomis, he's writing like the sequences where Michael Myers is chasing, but I'm like, so this means like all of the most iconic stuff from
I was
Halloween.
gonna say all the meats.
All
for
of
me,
the
at
meat.
least, yeah.
All of the like PJ Souls, totally.
God, she's great.
She's incredible. All of that is from a female screenwriter. And I think the fact that so much of this gets
Put it
talked
up
about as
personally.
this like ultra misogynistic.
Honestly, in the context of some of the things we've seen, I
Yeah.
actually don't.
I didn't feel that at all from
Yeah.
this. Like,
It
yeah.
felt very like kind of true to teens in
Yeah,
a way.
I agree.
I don't know.
It felt less misogynistic to me than Carrie in a lot of
right.
ways.
Yeah.
Which is a film that's like dealing with the experience of being a teen girl in really interesting ways. But anyway,
Yeah.
so we'll talk more about that along the line, but let's give a bit of
Funny.
context to Deborah Hill. She and Carpenter were dating at this point. They never marry. They break up, I think, like a year after this project, but because of that, Jamie Lee Curtis referred to them as like her horror film parents, like horror mom and horror dad.
Yeah. Aw.
They worked together a ton. She passed in 2005, but
Aw.
before that, she was a producer and writer or co-writer on The Fog, Halloween 2, Escape from LA, whole bunch of
Wow.
other stuff. Outside of the partnership with Carpenter, she also produced Clue, the Tim Curry
Oh,
Clue,
funny.
David Cronenberg's Dead Zone, Big Top Pee-wee, and Terry Gilliam's Fisher King. So like just
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
fucking stellar work
Wow.
across
Interesting
yeah,
work,
like
too.
all like a little bit different, but all kind of in this like horror sci-fi fantasy realm.
Yeah, just kind of weird.
Just
in
weird
a good
shit.
way.
Yeah.
Wow.
And while Haddonfield, Illinois is not a real town, Deborah Hill grew up in Haddonfield, New Jersey. So it's named after. Like,
that's
again,
insane.
even down to the
most-
iconic name.
God,
It's from Deborah.
She's why I like this movie. I
Yeah.
gotta say, and I love Carpenter. I can't say so far I like his side of this so far. So far,
Unfortunately, I'm not sure that I'm going to make you feel that much better about it.
Okay.
Maybe with the music. I
Sure,
think the
I
music might
mean,
be where it win you over a little
here's
bit.
the thing:
but-
that movie's just walking around to music. I
Yeah.
want to walk around to that music.
Oh,
that's all I want
absolutely.
to do.
So anyway, yeah, there's a whole bunch of even like street names she's chosen from Haddonfield. Like it's full of Deborah Hillisms, which I just feel
Women
like
in
this
horror, man.
film got
Should be
so
hers.
it got so misunderstood by again like second wave feminist film critics, and like I feel like we need to like reappreciate Deborah Hill's giant part of this film.
Absolutely.
Okay, cast. We
Mhm.
have a 19-year-old Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh my god, baby! I gotta say, she looks like a 40-year-old.
Yeah, she looks exactly the same. No
her
matter what
face
age
has
she
not
is.
changed, but
Yeah,
19.
she's
Holy
19.
shit.
She's a baby.
Baby.
Of course, we know and love her as Deirdre Beaudeirdre in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Have you seen it yet? I think you.
Silence. I want to.
I
just
think
haven't
you'd
got around
really
to
enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think both of you would really enjoy it.
This one's seen it.
Yeah. Tess in Freaky and Freakier Friday. Linda in Knives Out. Wanda in A Fish Called Wanda. Love A Fish Called Wanda. Fucking phenomenal movie. Ophelia in Trading Places, which I think we might be playing at the theater in
We are,
November. Yeah. Shout out to Trading Places. Elizabeth in The Fog, which obviously with Carpenter just a couple years later. She was on a TV show at this point, shot it in a break between seasons, and had a couple of smaller appearances on other shows, but this is her first big screen role, and so you get an introducing Jamie Lee Curtis credit. And of course, she's following in the footsteps of Scream Queen mother Janet Leigh from Psycho, which we will also talk about.
I just read that.
Yeah, she doesn't look that much like her, actually, to me.
Yeah. I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis's face is like so iconic.
Her dad is Tony Curtis, who's also a famous actor from that time period.
Yeah,
so
she's
it's
Nepo.
Yeah, she's one of the Nepo babies that I love the most.
Yeah, I was gonna
she's
say,
a good one.
yeah.
she's
I found
she's
out
earned
way
her
later in
place.
life, so.
Yeah. Donald Pleasance as Sam Loomis. Of course, we recently talked about him in Phenomena with his monkey cohort.
Yeah.
It's great. He's also in Fantastic Voyage, You Only Live Twice, The Last Tycoon. He's the president in Escape from New York and the priest in Prince of Darkness. So it goes on to have like a little bit of a
right.
Carpenter collaboration. Nancy Kyes, who is credited under the pseudonym Nancy Loomis. That's not her real name.
Okay. I was gagged seeing that for a second.
Yeah. No, it's a
Okay.
stage name. I couldn't find out a whole lot of info
I was like,
about
what came first?
Yeah.
Which Loomis came first?
I'm honestly not sure, but it's a stage name. She's Annie. She has a pretty short career, but she does appear in multiple other Carpenter projects, including Julie in Assault on Precinct 13, which was right before this one, Sandy in The Fog right after, and Linda in Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which was interesting because I haven't seen that one, but apparently same franchise, different character.
Huh.
Fascinating. PJ Souls, we love PJ. She was at
Yeah.
Morgan Crypt this year.
She was, yeah.
I really wish that I'd taken the time to go by her booth, but it
I
was
know.
such a busy weekend. But I like saw her from across a crowded room, and she like all the interactions I saw people having with her looked really sweet.
Yeah.
Got good vibes from PJ.
Yeah.
PJ's Linda Vanderklok. What a
Great
name. She's the one whose eardrum burst on Carrie, obviously.
Right.
Also stars in Rock and Roll High School after this, Devil's Rejects, and Jawbreaker, which I'd also forgotten about. So this is our third PJ Souls film. Yeah, as many as we've done.
That's really
Carpenter.
funny.
Yeah. Nick Castle credited as the Shape. He is the one who did most of the Michael Under the Mask.
Okay.
Not all of it. There were 5 different people who play
Holy
Michael Under the Mask at
shit.
different points, including John Carpenter, and Deborah Hill actually has a little Michael cameo in one shot. So it gets kind of traded off a little bit, but it's mainly Nick Castle, and he's the one who I think we owe credit to for kind of the way he moves, that very slow, deliberate kind of motion. What an interesting career he goes on to have. He co-wrote Escape from New York and Escape from LA. Goes on to a career as a director, directs The Last Starfighter and Dennis the Menace. The Shape from Halloween directed Dennis the Menace.
That's so funny. What?
He also plays the alien beach ball in Dark Star. I think
funny.
I don't know if that means that he's the one animating it or what that is, but he's credited as the alien in Dark Star. But this obviously is what his name is most known for. You hear Nick Castle, you think Halloween.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tony Moran plays the unmasked adult Myers at the end for that really brief little bit. I
hated the reveal of the face.
Oh, it's fascinating. Tell me more.
I just like
you like to not know?
Yeah.
That makes sense. One of the quotes that I saw from Carpenter talking about it was that a whole lot of people have talked about how horrifying the face was under the mask, and he's like, that's so funny. There's literally nothing on there. It's just like a human face.
Yeah. That's
yeah, so apparently a lot of people have kind of like projected stuff onto
he
that
just looked
moment.
like a boy.
Yeah, he's just just
weird.
a guy, just some guy, just some dude. We have Sandy Johnson as Judith Myers at the very beginning. She's also in The Farmhouse Murders and Gas Pump Girls, but she's probably best known as the June 1974 Playmate of the Month.
Oh, hey.
Yeah,
That's
which
cool.
is how she ends up getting the couple of horror roles that she does. So she's willing to do stuff topless.
Yeah.
Kyle Richards as Lindsay. She's also in Watcher in the Woods, Little House on the Prairie, ER, Lincoln Lawyer, and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Oh.
Yeah. So weird.
The reality show?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think she's the little kid that Laurie Strode is babysitting.
Yeah.
Goes on to be in Real Housewives. Yeah.
That's wild.
Weird, right? We also get a very brief director vocal cameo. Carpenter's the one on the phone with Annie, the boyfriend Paul.
He's the boyfriend Paul?
Yeah, just on the phone call. Yeah.
Which
is
funny.
Adorable. We love. This film is produced by Compass International and Falcon International Pictures, which are both teeny tiny little indie studios. Halloween was actually the first release from Compass, which then folds in 1981.
Oh, God.
Before rebranding as Trancas? I don't know how it's pronounced. That looks to me like it should be Trancas, but which is the company that now releases all of the Halloween sequels and owns the IP rights. So that's you might still see that name in places because of that. So how does this film get made?
How does this film film?
How does this film film? The story starts with Assault on Precinct 13, which comes out in 1976, so 2 years before this.
Okay.
That movie screens at the Milan Film Festival, and at the Milan Film Festival is producer Irvin Yablans, who watches it, loves it, and is one of the co-funders behind Compass International. So Yablans watches it, really enjoys it, calls up financier Mustafa Akkad, who is a Syrian-American producer. They like what Carpenter's up to, approach him to make a horror movie about a killer who stalks babysitters.
Oh.
Which it's so interesting that that's the part of it that came first, was the
Yeah.
babysitters. Also feels very When a Stranger Calls, which I know we've talked about wanting to cover. That's from
Yeah.
79, so it's just
Yeah.
1 year after. Because of this, there's a rumor that the film was originally titled The Babysitter Murders.
Mm,
AFI says it's true. Yablans has debunked it. Either way,
okay.
the Halloween night setting had been added to the project by the time it gets presented to Carpenter.
Got it.
So, as is often the case, though, with low budget horror in this period, they're very much trying to replicate the success of a previous movie. In this case, it's The Exorcist. They're like, we want to do an Exorcist.
Oh.
Carpenter agrees to write, direct, and eventually score for just $10K total.
Wow.
Which, I mean, to him at that time, that's a
Sure.
lot of money.
Yeah.
In the scale of film production, not a ton, but he has two conditions. He does also allegedly get 10% on the back end.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's,
nice.
yeah. Two conditions. One, his name appears above the title, John Carpenter's Halloween.
Hey,
Which, like,
that's
diva.
That's a good thing to fucking ask for,
Right?
actually.
Right?
Damn. Smart.
Two, he gets to keep complete and full creative control. Which, like, yeah,
Honestly, for 10K to be like,
yeah, that's great.
That
A
and
plus.
that, good job. Good job.
Good deal,
That's a good deal.
Carpenter. So meanwhile, co-writer and producer Hill, according to the Hollywood Reporter, gets no money up front, despite doing basically the same amount of work, given that she's
Yeah.
producing and co-writing.
yeah.
Gets only back-end points, but that ends up working out pretty well for her, because the back-end on this film does real well.
Yeah. God, people need to do that more, because I do feel like that
Yes.
could be a good, great thing for most people. Damn.
And we actually have a quote from Mustafa Akkad, who's the one who puts up the actual money for it, about what gave him the confidence to fund the film.
Yeah.
Here he says, quote, "Two things made me decide. One, Carpenter told me the story verbally in a suspenseful way, almost frame for frame. So it gives him like a
Ooh.
verbal walkthrough of the story, which, like, yeah, that's
Yeah, if you
that's
could do
pretty
that,
powerful.
very cool.
Second, he told me he didn't want to take any fees, and that showed he had confidence in the project. So the fact that Carpenter is willing to do this deal where he's like, I'll take very little for this in exchange for back end points, he's like, oh, this person believes in the project.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah.
like all the more reason take
Yeah,
back end.
Absolutely. Super smart.
And apparently the money, we're going to get to budget in just a
Okay,
second.
yeah.
But it came from another Akkad project. He was shooting this film called Lion of the Desert, which was like a giant epic with like
Really?
really famous cast members, all this stuff. And Akkad says in an interview, like, we were spending X amount, that's the entire budget of Halloween, and spoiler alert,
Yeah.
on Lion of the Desert every day.
Holy
And
shit.
so when John Carpenter comes to me and tells me he can make this whole film
Thing.
for X amount.
Yeah, he's like, this is small potatoes.
Yeah, so he basically, it sounds
Wow.
like, pulls a little bit of money from the budget of that film.
takes a day
Yeah,
out of the
takes a
budget.
day out of Lion of the Desert to make what goes on to be, at the time this is released, the most successful independent film of all time.
Wow.
Good move on Akkad's part.
Wow.
Screenplay itself, super short writing process. Author John Kenneth Muir says it only took 10 days. Co-writer producer Deborah Hill says it was closer to 3 weeks. Not hard to say who I think is telling
I
the
know who to
truth.
believe.
Yablans and Akkad mostly keep their promise of giving Carpenter complete creative control. So they don't make demands, they do make some suggestions. And one of the things that they especially wanted in the script, according to Hill, was that, quote, Yablans wanted the script written like a radio show with boos every 10 minutes, like so that there'd be a scare every 10 minutes, which is a really interesting way to think about that kind of, like, it feels like we're just like walking with scary music without a whole lot going on. It's very radio play. It's like nothing, nothing, nothing. Big thing right before the commercial break.
then-
Nothing, nothing, nothing. Big break right
Honey,
before the commercial.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I see it. I hear it.
So again, in terms of division of screenwriting labor, they divide it completely along gender lines, partially because Hill had worked as a babysitter herself, and so she was
Sure.
like, I know that life.
Just like, give me this. I got this.
Which again, this just feeds into the film theory right corner, so put a pin in that.
Yay. Yeah.
And I just had to shout out here before we move on to themes, approach, and history that Carpenter writes this script directly after, in 77, he writes another script that never gets made. That it's called Meltdown. And he's described, you can find the script online. Like,
Really?
it's unproduced, but it exists. You can
Okay.
read it. And he's described it as Halloween in a nuclear plant.
Oh God.
And I'm
You're
like,
Jesus
"Ah!"
Christ.
Yeah. So it's basically the idea is that one of the employees of the plant goes mad, takes over the plant computers, and starts like torturing his fellow workers. And I'm like, I so want to
Oh,
watch this.
interesting.
I so want to make this. Somebody
That-
give me the money to remake the script.
I wonder if that has anything that sounds so much like Halloween 3.
Interesting.
Or like that it's such a big chunk, I feel like, of not nuclear so much, but
because I haven't
wonder if that
seen Halloween 3. But yeah, it definitely feels like bits of that get turned into other Carpenter
Yeah,
scripts.
they
So
gotta-
just wanted to shout out if y'all
Very
are
interesting.
real big Carpenter fans and want to go on a deep dive,
Yeah.
you can find the screenplay for Meltdown on the internet.
Meltdown's such a great name.
Right? I so want to see it. So themes, approach, and history. They draw obviously a lot of inspiration from Samhain lore, the like pre-Halloween holiday. So here's a quote from Hill. Quote, "The idea was that you couldn't kill evil, and that's how we came about the story. We went back to the old idea of Samhain, that Halloween was the night where all the souls are let out to wreak havoc on the living, and then came up with a story about the most evil kid who ever lived." And at this point, I just want to shout out that all of the character names are full of Easter eggs and tidbits.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to tell you about those. Al is at
Yeah.
another point.
Siena kicked for the live show. Siena was gracious enough to kick Al Tids my way that then I will research and
share
about.
share with the
Yeah,
with
share
the class. Bring in for show and tell. And I also wanted to shout out here that one of the main inspirations for Michael Myers himself, particularly
Oh yeah.
like the physicality of Michael Myers, is the original Westworld, which have you seen it?
I haven't.
I just
watched
watched
the
it
new
earlier
one.
this year. It is
gotta see that,
incredible. I
yeah.
think you'd really like it. Yul Brynner plays this character called the Gunslinger, who's this like robot gunslinger who just kind of very quietly, slowly just walks after the main
Ooh,
character.
yeah.
Like you never see him break a sweat, you never see him stress, and it's so terrifying and so
Yeah.
Michael Myers. So highly
Very
recommend
cool.
you
didn't
watch
know
that
that.
if you're a fan of the Michael Myers, especially like this original manifestation of him. Because I've heard one of the things that I've seen people from the original complain about the sequels doing is that Michael Myers starts running more. And
don't
like
think-
you can't do
that feels
that.
wrong.
You can't have Michael Myers
Yeah.
run. He
I-
needs to be walking slowly.
Truly. And even like I love every Halloween the trend goes around of people trying to like run from Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And that bitch always fucking gets
Of
there.
course.
He always gets there.
Of
What's he need to run for?
course.
He's conserving his energy
Yes.
to kill you.
Yeah.
So-
The slow Michael gets the worm.
Yeah, truly. Gets the stab.
Exactly. The slow Michael gets the stab. There's also one real life piece of inspiration that Carpenter draws on for writing the character of Michael Myers, but that's another Altid.
I'm excited to research that,
that
one too,
one
because I
was-
don't know. So
yeah.
actually, in this moment, I don't
Al
know the
doesn't know the
answers to
Altid,
these.
but let me tell y'all, it's very Al coded.
Yeah.
Very fun. So
Or I might know it. If it is what I think it is, I think I know this one. Is it The Mask?
no. I mean, we talked about that on
Yeah.
the Eyes Without a Face
Yeah,
episode.
yeah,
That it's
yeah.
very inspired by Eyes Without a Face. But we also, lest we hear Carpenter name dropping Westworld and think he's like about to dip his toes into any kind of cinematic elitism, he openly stated at the time of the release that he meant the film as quote unquote true crass exploitation. So like he
Oh.
very much went into it being like, I'm not trying to make a fancy schmancy movie. His description was like he wanted to make a movie that felt like a haunted house.
These are just so. This and House, God, they have so much in common.
So much in common. Yeah, he wanted it to be that kind of sense of like a series of specifically timed spooks, not a whole lot of blood, Not a whole lot of gore. There's actually like literally only one shot in the
I was
entire
gonna
movie
say,
with
yeah.
any blood.
Yeah.
It's very bloodless. But yeah, he's like, I just
That's-
wanted to feel like going to like a county fair haunted house as a little kid.
Oh my god, put a pin for mine.
Love.
That's incredible.
Not
Okay, I get that. Especially for like
surprised.
that time too. We have to think of how. I also have to like in context of eras. Like that's
Yeah.
actually a perfect way.
To think of it, it's very it feels very House on Haunted Hill in that way, I think. Of course, this film is famous for popularizing a whole lot of slasher tropes that have gone on to be kind of done to death, from like the killer POV shots to the baddie theme song to the virgin final girl versus like promiscuous victims dichotomy. But as film scholar Pat Gill points out, one place where this film is actually really different from things like Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th is that whereas in those films the parents are partially responsible for the creation of the monster, here the parents are completely absent.
Not
and
a
it's their
damn
absence
parent
that's
in sight.
horrifying. Yeah.
It's really it's actually that's more jarring to me.
Yeah.
We made the joke. I was like, where are all the parents? We made the joke that they're the Hocus Pocus party.
Oh my god, yes.
So if anyone's wondering, that's my lore.
So good.
Is that the Sanderson sisters have them under a spell?
Yes.
because I'm like, not a damn parent.
And
in
like the
sight.
streets are completely empty.
Yeah, there's a lot of
The
eeriness
only
in
person
that.
driving around is Michael Myers.
Somehow
There's literally nobody
no
else on
one's
the road.
noticed him.
Yeah.
This big masked man walking around a school, and everyone's like, yeah, that's
Driving a
Mike.
government car. Yeah. That's just Mikey.
So funny.
Yeah, that to me is one of the scariest
It's
aspects.
eerie. It's
Yeah.
a little bit yeah.
So production. Talking about that lack of Halloween weather.
Yes.
So this shot from April to May of
Sure.
1978 in Southern California, which, you know,
There you
very much
go.
not Midwest, mid-autumn. We're going to talk a lot about that. Was one of the hardest things that they had to deal with, was just framing out palm trees, and they are not 100% successful at it.
Oh man, I don't think I saw a palm tree. I actually it felt
They
feel like-
work real hard, but
Yeah.
you can see them in one of the. It's like we're in the first 15 minutes as Laurie's like walking back from school. There's like a couple in the
a
background
trunk or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I didn't notice that.
It's not super obtrusive, but it's
It's
there.
I'm gonna watch now.
Yeah.
Because I didn't notice that. That's so funny.
Take a guess at the budget of this.
I'm gonna say 760,000.
Does anybody else know the budget? No, no.
We got
Bueller. 320.
Oh my god, half of what I just
Half
said.
of that, which is
Damn, I really thought I nailed
wild.
it.
Yeah. So, and
No wonder what's his name is like, we're good.
Yeah. Oh, we're fine.
We are good.
And it was originally just 300, which was like that's what Mustafa Akkad said. Like, Lion of the Desert was costing 300K a day.
Wow.
Which is not unreasonable for like a desert epic.
Sure.
And so, yeah, 300 total.
Wow.
The
Okay.
additional 20K, put a pin in because it's all for one person. Yeah.
If it's
So,
Loomis, I'm gonna kick somebody.
oh,
I'm-
it's Loomis. 5 days, 20K. Gets paid more than anybody else on the set.
that man
5
could not be in the
days.
movie and it'd be fine.
Earns twice as much as John Carpenter.
That's true too. Yeah.
Earns
Holy
twice as
shit.
much as the person who co-wrote, directed, and composed the movie.
That's
For 5
so-
days.
5 days of what?
Yeah.
Wandering around.
In a
He's
trench
like,
coat.
I said that man
Yeah.
escaped the home.
Honestly,
and
yeah.
he has no idea where he
And
is.
like I love Donald Pleasance, but it's
I mean,
also
well,
not
he's
like a
great in Phenomena.
Yeah, but this is also like not a great Donald Pleasance performance, to be honest. Like it
Horrible.
feels like
lifeless. One would say.
I'll be honest, it feels like he's phoning it in for the 20K.
Yeah. Okay.
Like-
I'm glad at least we can agree on that.
We can absolutely
he's
agree
great,
on that.
So don't get me
Yes,
wrong.
I think he's a phenomenally
I was-
talented actor.
yeah.
I don't think he thought this movie was ever going to get seen.
He's like, I'm just gonna say
Yeah,
some words.
I that's truly, especially because like the accent's very inconsistent. Like sometimes he has a British accent, sometimes he has an American accent, and I'm like,
Wow.
where are you
He
from,
didn't care.
Loomis? What's
Yeah.
going on? What's happening?
And he escaped from
Who
home.
is Loomis?
He doesn't even know.
Like Loomis really does not feel like a person.
No.
Um,
Not a. Yeah. There's no
Yeah.
anything to him. Again, like
Yeah.
this.
So 320K total, 20K of which
That's
gets
insane.
added on just to pay Donald Pleasance for 5
Not earned, my dude.
days. 5 days.
That makes me angry. That makes me angry. You're not helping so far with the way you feel.
I mean, think about it. He's earning 4K a day in 78. Like,
that's insane.
On a tiny budget movie.
Yeah.
Where like the 300K, 150-ish of that went to just the film stock because he wanted to shoot on Panavision for the frame ratio.
Yeah, absolutely.
The aspect ratio. And so it's too much money.
Yikes.
Too much money for one Sam. Anyway, let's see. Oh, great story though about how they get Mustafa to give the 300K.
Yeah.
So Erwin Yablans and Carpenter are like, I think, having dinner with him or something. And it's a story that Carpenter and Yablans are telling together in a retrospective.
Funny.
And so Carpenter says, quote, I was unemployed at the time, so I was thinking 300,000 is a lot of money. And Yablans adds, quote, we basically shamed Mustafa into it. I told him, 300,000 would probably be too much for you to invest, knowing that he couldn't back off because of his pride.
Oh, my genius.
Listen, so to any of you filmmakers out there,
know your investor.
Yes. Play on that pride, baby.
Absolutely. Amazing. Well done.
Yeah. I've seen a couple different reports for the number of days it's shot, but it's in like the 4-week range. It's between 20 and 22. Nice. So it's a short set. Shoots in Pasadena, Alhambra, Sierra Madre, and Hollywood. The climax sequence takes place on Orange Grove Avenue near Sunset Boulevard because it was one of the areas with the fewest palm trees. And if you can see palm trees at the beginning of this film. The Myers house, though, was a 100-year-old abandoned building owned by a church at the time of production.
Ooh, spooky.
And so they shoot the beginning at the very end of the shoot so that they can have it like decrepit through the entire shoot and then spruce it up at the end to shoot 1965.
Oh, no.
My pumpkin tid. I am obsessed with this. Okay, so there are two things that tell us what time of year this is, and two things only.
The two pumpkins.
The two pumpkins. Two great big pumpkins, Elvira style. It's the pumpkins and the leaves on the ground, which are they're paper leaves that they painted. And the budget was so low that they had to sweep up the painted leaves to reuse them every scene. So it's the same leaves over and over again. Meanwhile, Donald Pleasance gets 20K.
Right, yeah.
The trick-or-treating children are all just neighborhood kids whose parents dressed them up to participate, which I thought was very cute. Fun. But the pumpkins.
Yes, the pumpkins.
Most of the pumpkins that you see in this film are not pumpkins.
What are they? Well, they're so round.
They're not pumpkins! So there are 12 pumpkins that appear on screen.
I thought they looked a little wonky because pumpkins aren't that round and there was no stems.
They're specifically hiding the stem for a very specific reason. So again, late April, Southern California, it's not pumpkin patch season.
Yeah, anywhere.
No, anywhere. And so the production designer starts looking for pumpkins in late March, trying to find something.
Panicked.
Yeah.
Anyone got pumpkins? I need pumpkins.
From what I was able to find out of the 12 pumpkins that we see, it appears only 3 of them are actual pumpkins, and one is the one that gets smushed. And so they only had one chance to do that shot because, like, they're...
Could you have used the non-pumpkin for that?
Truly.
God damn.
I think they were worried that if it smushed, it would be so obvious that it's not a real pumpkin because I only found this while reading the caption to a photograph in an article about John Carpenter from Cinefantastique 1979. And I was like, you're fucking kidding me. So here's the quote. The assistant art director ended up having to send to South America for a first cousin in the gourd family, which had to be painted orange. It's a painted South American gourd.
What the fuck is that?
Crazy?
Well, now I'm angry that there's barely even pumpkins in there.
Pumpkins in Halloween.
Oh my!
So like this pumpkin is more of a pumpkin than
we have
the
a pumpkin on our little set right now.
Like that fake plastic pumpkin.
I mean, they could have moved the production a little bit. My God. Just move it 3 months and you'll be able to get a goddamn. That's so true though. Like, where the fuck would
Where are
you
you
get
gonna
a
get a
pumpkin?
pumpkin? Especially
during that time of year?
1978 when like there's not the same
There's a
kind of
pumpkin shortage. I'm having a stroke. I'm so viscerally angry of the
About
lack
the
of leaves
pumpkins.
and the pumpkins. I can't speak.
I make Al
I
hate
can't
Halloween.
Oh my God.
Mhm.
Well, I guess like good on them for at least trying.
And like if you
But
don't
what
know,
would have the fact that they almost didn't have those two things, what the fuck would this movie
yeah,
be?
yeah,
Put up a light.
I know.
A light.
I'm
A paper ghost.
I'm surprised that there's no Halloween decorations.
And there's 4
at
kids
all.
trick-or-treating. Broad daylight. Without a goddamn decoration.
Like I'll be my movie's also set over Halloween. There's more Halloween decorations in my movie than in Halloween.
A strand of lights would
Yeah.
have given that anything.
Give me a fake spider web. I don't know. Give me something, man.
A real spider. I don't really care. Something. Yeah, so that kind of killed me, and that makes me angry that there's and like the poor only pumpkin that they found they smushed.
Just gets
I hate
smushed. Yeah, yeah.
that. R.I.P.
But that like I
R.I.P.
can't
pumpkin.
I can't stop thinking about it, knowing that it made
you
the
imagine
first shot
how much-
so funny because I feel like that very
That's
first
what I took a
shot
goddamn picture
is
of.
not a pumpkin.
No,
I'm not,
it's too round.
It's too round.
It's too round. They
It's
look
too
like little
round to be a
basketballs.
pumpkin.
Oh my God. That makes me so angry. And then probably the one they're scooping the guts, I'm sure, is like
Did not look like a pumpkin
Yeah.
to me. Yeah. Anyway.
Well,
yeah.
still hating it.
Great. Just digging myself further into the guts of this pumpkin.
Yeah, I'm digging. Mike, you can put me in the grave that you're digging right now, actually, not
Perfect.
yourself.
AFI also notes the whole crew was super young at the time. Carpenter, I think, had just turned 30 at the
Okay.
time of production, and a 1978 article put the average crew age at 26. So just like a whole bunch of babies.
Yeah, very cool.
Cast and crew. Yeah, so we have alleged numbers for actor salaries on this one.
Oh, wow.
Um,
That's shocking, actually, for this film.
and this comes from the website for Tronkas Films, previously Compass. So they're the ones who
Interesting.
own the rights. They're bragging about it. They're
Weird.
the ones who put out there that Pleasant's got a flat 20K, also a fat
Fat
20K
check.
fee for 5 days of shooting.
Wow.
Curtis, Jamie Lee, who's in like basically every scene of the movie,
Mhm.
gets 8.
$8?
This isn't Jessica
I
Chastain on
was
Take
gonna say.
Shelter.
And I also wouldn't be surprised.
Honestly, yeah.
$8 a day. What, 800? 8,000?
8K. Yeah,
Okay.
8,000 total.
Okay.
But, you know, she's probably doing 3.5
they're like-
weeks of work.
They're like, you're barely over 18 right now. We're gonna.
True. Meanwhile, Nick Castle gets just 25 a day.
So I was
Yeah,
kind of right
pretty
with
close
A
for
at some
the
point.
for that.
God.
Which sounds to me like it could conceivably be SAG minimum at the time,
Yeah.
since I got into like a
Was this
hole about this.
union?
It's non-union IATSE. I couldn't tell if it was SAG or not. It could very well not be SAG because
Sure.
again, Jamie Lee she'd been
Yeah,
on
what if-
TV, but she hadn't been in any movies at this point.
I
And
was gonna
Donald
ask.
Pleasance is British, so there's a chance that he wouldn't have joined SAG yet. So it's possible.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about it, got into a hole, looked it up. Minimum wage in 78 was $2.65 an hour, and so
We've barely gone up from there.
yeah, truly. And so
Barely.
like for 8 hours of work, which would be $21.20 at minimum wage. So for him to get 25, that's like I could conceive of it being
Sure.
within SAG minimums. Not 100% sure, but anyway. So, if you want to hear a little bit about how Loomis got cast, you're going to have to hold on to that because he was not Carpenter's first choice. And the person that Carpenter wanted
was not Al Pacino.
was not Al Pacino, but went on to say that not taking this role was his biggest regret. And it's somebody that Al loves. So, put a pin in that.
Oh, damn it. That's gonna be hard not to look up. Shit.
But we can talk about casting Laurie Strode. Jamie Lee Curtis also not the original choice, which is kind of shocking in retrospect. But Carpenter basically said he didn't watch TV at the time, so he wasn't familiar with the show that she was on, didn't really know who she was. His heart was set on Anne Lockhart from Battlestar Galactica.
Funny.
But she couldn't fit the project into her schedule. And then Carpenter finds out who Jamie's mom is, and at least for Deborah Hill,
Sure.
I think she's the one who really puts on her producer hat and is like, well, we have to capitalize on this. As she says, quote, I knew casting Jamie Lee would be great publicity for the film because her mother's in Psycho. And so they do like a whole like mother like daughter thing.
Yeah. I mean, smart for a small
It
production.
is. It's, you know, it's a good way of kind of tying yourself into the slasher lineage. Jamie herself, though, was very nervous about whether or not she was right for the part because she was a cheerleader in high school and was really funny and really like outgoing. And so she was like, I'm more like any of the other characters than I am like Laurie. There's actually like a really funny story where she was like teasing PJ Souls saying, you get all the fun scenes. You get to make out with people. I just have to be like a wet blanket.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, yeah, she's like everyone's mom. Yeah, funny.
But because of that, she asks her mom for advice,
Yeah.
which I thought was so sweet.
It's cute.
And she recalls her mom saying, quote, you can't learn to act, but you can learn to lose your inhibitions. Find what you need inside. It's in you somewhere.
Oh,
And I was like, oh,
that's actually,
you go, Janet Leigh.
That's a really great thing because I don't know how actors do that, but it is really like you have to be able to just drop all of that.
You can't learn to act. You can learn to let go.
Yeah.
Which like, great advice.
Good advice.
Nancy Kyes, credited as Nancy Loomis, had worked on Assault on Precinct 13, but also is dating and goes on to marry and then divorce Tommy Lee Wallace. Who's Tommy Lee? He's the production designer on this film, but not just that. Put a pin in Tommy. Tommy does like 5 jobs on this set.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. According to PJ Souls, she found out after being cast that Carpenter wrote her part specifically for her.
That's sweet.
Which I think is, based off of seeing Carrie too, which is like really, really cute. And at the time, PJ is married to Dennis Quaid, and they're trying to get Dennis Quaid, I know, wild. And they're trying to get Dennis Quaid to play her boyfriend on screen. But the schedules don't line up, and so we get this Quaidless cast. But she also, in a continuation of the PJ Souls getting hurt on set trope from our Carrie episode, actually trips over the dolly track in one of the shots and Carpenter leaves it in. So the shot where you see PJ trip, that's dolly track she's tripping over.
Fuck. That's really funny.
Yeah. At least this time it's like a much safer injury.
Yeah,
It didn't like risk
didn't
her
say
hearing.
anything. Yeah,
but
she didn't break anything after that.
thank God. Nick Castle was a college buddy of Carpenter's from their USC days. But he also apparently basically just wanted to shadow Carpenter on a set. And Carpenter was like, well, if you're going to be here all the time, you might as well be the person under the mask. Which
can you imagine?
Incredible. And I told you producer Deborah Hill plays Michael at one point.
Yeah.
There's one wide shot that she's in, but she's also in like a very Dario Argento move, the one playing the hands of 6-year-old Michael doing the stabbing.
Stop. Oh my God.
That's why 6-year-old Michael has like well manicured fingernails.
That's so funny.
Yep.
They almost look like little baby hands.
Yes. Well, she had the smallest hands on set, and they were like, child actors are so hard to afford. Yeah. So it's just Deborah.
That's really
Again,
funny.
she really had her hands in every part of this film.
That's so funny.
Oh, yeah. There's also an incredible story about how Tony Moran gets cast as unmasked Michael. But Al's going to tell you about that one because it also connects to another movie monster. That's all I'll say about that. So
again, I still I'm surprised. You guys will know
all
these
the things that Al's going to know. And in general, the cast on this film was very hands-on deck. So, like, Jamie Lee was helping move equipment and stuff, which I just find really sweet. And definitely makes it sound like this was non-union.
Yeah.
Opening scene, moving into the making of. My favorite film professor always likes to say that, like, a good opening scene gives you all of the tools you need to understand the rest of the movie. And I found this incredible quote from a film historian named J.P. Tellett analyzing the opening of Halloween, where he writes that it, quote, clearly announces that the film's primary concern will be with the way in which we see ourselves and others and the consequences that often attend our unusual matter of perception, because it's this zoom into the pumpkin eye, which is very film theory, like I'm going to take a tiny seed and turn it into a giant pumpkin. But, loved the quote, wanted to shout it out anyway. And that opening scene, not the pumpkin shot itself, but the sequence in which Michael commits his first murder was actually the last thing shot. And because it covers so much ground, and goes on so long, crew are moving lights around during the shot off camera because they didn't have enough lights.
No.
We love.
Whoa.
We love.
God, good on them. That's really cool.
And it's played out like it's a 5-minute one shot. There's 2 cuts hidden in it. One is when the mask goes over the camera. There's a quick little cut there. And the other is as Michael's escaping, when he's at the top of the stairs, he like does this quick little look around. And as it pans quickly, there's a cut hidden in that white.
That's great. I don't think
but
I
it really,
noticed.
it plays
I didn't
well.
notice those.
Yeah. Direction. So, because as is almost always the case, this was shot out of sequence, you might have heard about this. Jamie and Carpenter come up with a fear meter, which I think is so cute. So it's like to figure out kind of where she is in the progression of terror over the course of the night. They assign like a numerical system to it.
Amazing.
So and
smart.
she develops different screams for each of the numbers, different facial reactions for each point on the scale. And as she recalls, it's like, here's about a 7, here's a 6. The scene we're going on to shoot later tonight is about a 9.5.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
What a great, easy system to just be like, okay, I'm there.
And it's part of why I think it has remained as watchable as it is it doesn't feel like she's at the same level the whole time. It really does have that kind of movement throughout it. On the opposite side of the direction spectrum, Carpenter wanted as little performance as possible from Nick Castle as Myers. And so apparently Castle would like come to him and be like, what's my motivation? What's my motivation? And Carpenter would be like, your motivation is to walk across the room and not act.
God, I could act if that's what acting is.
Apparently, like, one of the only notes he ever gave him was the little, when he stabs the boyfriend onto the wall, like pins him up.
Yes.
The little head tilt he did. Yeah. That was one of the only directions he gave him, was like, tilt your head like you're looking at a butterfly collection.
Oh.
Yeah.
He is very like, he's cutesy there.
He is. Michael's such a goof.
I know. I mean, he really yoinks out of frame and stuff too.
And like when he comes back in with like the ghost.
A ghost Michael Myers.
Incredible.
Needs to be talked about
I
more.
know. I'm like how have we not?
He also
as a
Beetlejuice.
culture.
Hello.
Yes.
That is Adam.
Yoinked.
Yeah, that's yoinked.
That's yoinked.
My damn little devil ear keeps like seeing a yoink. Keeps
They're nodding along.
That needs to be talked about more because it's so fucking funny and iconic.
It's
so
good.
Funny and
I
iconic.
would scream laughing
It's
at that.
so good.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. And I feel like I don't see pictures of that anymore.
Yeah, I feel like it's not talked about enough. I feel like we need as a culture to recognize the
Shame
impact
on everybody. We need to
Ghost
bring that
Michael.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you for finally recognizing. So, Carpenter also really wants the Michael Myers physicality to be as grounded as possible, as simple as possible. And I brought in a quote where he says, quote, "To make Michael Myers frightening, I had him walk like a man, not a monster." And I was like, yeah.
That's a great quote.
Yes, we love. Which is true. Like, I think if he were like limping his way along, like,
I think, don't quote me, in Halloween 1 or 2, Rob Zombie's one, I think Loomis says he's a man, not a monster.
Oh, I love that.
I'm pretty sure it's a really big quote of his when he's trying to convince people because again, he wants to like save Michael Myers basically because he's like, this is my patient. So that's funny. That's probably exactly what that's from.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I do have a tidbit about directing Sam Loomis, but I'm saving that for the live show or
well,
whatever we do because it's going to make you so mad that I want your reaction to happen.
People need to hold me back.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody needs to like strap Al down.
That will be my costume. I'll just need a little straight jacket.
Perfect. Cinematography. This is what I've been most excited to talk about, besides the pumpkins. Second only to the pumpkins.
What were you excited about pumpkins?
God. So the director of photography on this film is Dean Cundy, who is just apparently I told you I got lunch with Todd Vaziri,
Mhm,
who's
mhm.
an amazing VFX artist. Turns out he's also a giant Halloween fan, and we
Yeah, that's
ended
what
up
you were
spending a
saying.
whole lot of time talking about the cinematography of the original
Mm.
Halloween, because Dean Cundey goes on to be like the VFX artist cinematographer. Listen to the things this man
Oh,
has worked
wow.
on. He shot Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I mean, stop
Um,
there, icon.
I know, and especially again talking about like taking
Wow.
on big challenges
Yeah,
in
no
terms of new
shit.
technology.
Yeah, damn.
He DP'd Escape from New York. He did Apollo 13. He did Jurassic Park, which like
Again, technology.
yeah, again, you want to talk about VFX
Wow.
shots.
Wow.
Which again, like had that film not been shot so carefully on the day,
Mhm.
those those the VFX would not hold up the way they do now. Like it's
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
much the cinematographer as the
Mhm,
VFX artists.
mhm.
He recently shot 3 episodes of The Mandalorian as well.
Aw.
The now pod infamous What Women Want. He did Flubber. He did The Parent Trap. He did Death Becomes Her, Hook,
Oh.
Big Trouble in
Ah!
Little China, Back to the Future, The Fog, and The Thing.
God, he is my entire
He's everything.
childhood
Dean Cundey
and
did
life.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Incredible.
Wow.
Um, and of course, this film, like, kind of famously follows in
Forgot
the
we talked about him.
footsteps of.
I forgot we talked about him on the thing
I
then.
did
Yeah.
too. Um,
Listen, y'all, it leaves my brain.
d-
We leave
also,
this room, it leaves my brain.
I'm sure we will cover The Fog at some point on the pod, and we'll
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about
Yeah,
him
it's
for
come
that
up a
too.
lot
Yeah,
for you and
yeah.
this.
I think we suggested The Fog, The Mist pairing.
Mm,
Yeah.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
Um, so this film very much follows in the footsteps of Black Christmas in terms of the killer POV shots. Um, really kind of popularizes that trope. That's a
Yeah.
major part of why Carol Clover latches onto this as kind of being the foundation of her Men, Women, and Chainsaws essay is because it is giving us these POV killer shots. But I've also seen a lot of people rightly pointing out that you get many more POV shots from Laurie's POV than you
Mhm.
ever do from Michael's. And so it's
Interesting.
interesting to me that that's not
Talked about?
talked about in the
Hmm.
same way. Hmm.
Hmm.
Carpenter himself, as one might expect, has a very different perspective than film theorists on his camera
Of course he
technique.
does.
Here's a quote. In terms of the graphics of cinema, the moving camera displays three-dimensionality. The environment becomes more real. If you move your camera past something, you don't just see it flat, you get to see around it. It also has a dramatic impact, an emphasis that says something. Look over here, not over here.
Mhm,
Directing is expressing point of view of a scene, which,
mhm.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
there's a lot of reasons to do a POV shot that are not just, oh, it must be Freudian.
Right.
um, can we tell I'm mad
Simple-minded.
at Carol Clover?
I mean,
At this point, though, I need to take a second to get nerdy about tech because, oh my god, I was so excited to research this. So this film is from 78.
mhm.
I always had in my head that around 1980 is when Steadicams really take over because of The Shining.
Right.
78, how are they getting those super smooth shots outside? They used earlier, shittier Steadicam dupe called the Panaglide,
Hmm.
made unsurprisingly by Panavision.
Yeah.
First used in 1978 on Terrence Malick's Days of Heaven. This
Oh.
is only the fourth film ever
Gee.
to use the
Wow, that's
technology.
really cool. Wow,
Um,
for such a small
I know.
film.
And it's you can watch Todd actually sent me and I'll send to Travis afterwards because I feel like it'd be up y'all's alley. They have camera tests of them trying out the
Oh,
Panaglide
that's
pre-production
cool.
and you can just see Dean Cundey and everybody just like geeking the fuck
God,
out
but
over
can
it.
you imagine being on set and
Yeah.
like,
Well, and especially I was talking to Dana because Dana also study ops
mhm,
sometimes, and she said like we were like researching how it was built, and it was very clearly designed to be like because they were trying to avoid patent lawsuits against the Steadicam, which had already been
sure,
developed but not popularized at this
right.
point. And so it's like a slightly shittier version
Yeah,
that
yeah,
has like
yeah.
a little more kind of sway and movement and bounce to it, which
Interesting.
actually to me worked better for what it's doing because it's like you still feel a little bit of the footsteps in it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
still like the moves
Feels
around
human
corners.
a little bit more.
Exactly. The moves around corners feel very smooth in a way where like those steady shots in The Shining, when it turns a corner, it feels very stiff.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
it feels very
Which works
intentional
for
in The
that.
Shining.
Yeah.
But like this has that like very glidey feeling, and it's partially because it's this shittier rig.
I love
And I
that. How
loved
well did
it.
that work
Yeah.
out? God, I love
Ugh.
fucking camera movements like that.
Right?
Yeah.
Mwah, so good. And you know the shot where Laurie's like standing by the closet and Michael Myers kind of slowly emerges from the dark?
Yeah.
So good.
good.
I love how they did this too. They just had the lights on a dimmer switch and slowly started turning the lights up just the tiniest bit to mimic the sense of your eyes adjusting to the darkness.
That's great.
Like,
That's cool.
Because of course,
God.
in the real world, that's what your eyes would do. But
It's
recording
genius.
a moving image,
Mhm.
you're not going to be able to get that same effect because the exposure isn't changing.
Yeah.
What's recorded on the film strip is what's recorded on the film strip. So it's like making it feel more real, actually, by adding on this extra effect.
That's
So
fun.
cool.
I love that.
Production design. Okay, now we get more into Tommy Lee Wallace, who again is the one who's dating Nancy Kyes at the time, goes on to marry and then divorce her. Tommy is the production designer, co-editor, location scout, and does some voice dubbing.
Oh.
He goes on to production design, edit, and act in The Fog, and then moves into writing and directing. So
wow.
he wrote and directed 2 episodes of the original It miniseries.
Oh.
Shout out to Welcome to Derry, which I'm
Yeah.
super excited
This
to
weekend.
watch. I know.
You've all had the chance to watch it. We have not yet.
We have not yet, but I'm dying to, especially because my lead actress is in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited
Shout out
to
Morningstar. So he also did Fright Night Part 2 and Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. He's the one who directed it. He's the production designer from the original.
So cool.
And we must talk about the mask. Tommy Lee is the one who created the mask. Most iconic part of the movie, I think. And this is a pretty famous story, so I'm sure most of you have heard this before. You've seen it because it was a tidbit that I posted on the Jean Cocteau Instagram page. It's a William Shatner mask.
Yeah, that's like I feel like that's
the thing that if you know nothing else, you know
Yeah.
that it's a William Shatner mask.
So funny.
Bought for $198 on Hollywood Boulevard, $1.98 to clarify, not $198.
Yeah.
Here's
that fancy.
Not that fancy. Here's a quote from Carpenter. Tommy widened the eye holes, which is also largely practical because the eye holes on those masks are too small to be moving around a whole bunch of dolly track.
Yeah.
Thus you get people like PJ Souls tripping.
Yeah.
So widened the eye holes, spray painted the flesh a bluish white. In the script, it said Michael Myers' mask had the pale features of a human face, and it truly was spooky looking. I can only imagine the result if they hadn't painted the mask white. Children would be checking their closet for William Shatner after Tommy'd gone through with it. He did, however, come up with one alternative to the Shatner mask, which was based on Emmett Kelly the Hobo Clown.
Oh God, I love the hobo.
Yes. So if that was his alternative, if the Star Trek mask.
Would he have had the nose and everything?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
And they did like screen tests with it and were like, it's scary, but it's not as scary.
Yeah. Think of God, if that would have been the mask. Think of how many things that would have inspired in that way too. That's crazy.
I also found a hilarious interview with Shatner talking about this, where he says that like he first found out that it's a Captain Kirk mask. He's like, I thought, is this a joke? Are they kidding?
It's so funny because it looks like him, but it doesn't.
But it doesn't. Yeah, it's
all.
amazing how much the color shift does. I mean, I know they also took off the sideburns. They changed the hair a little bit.
the hair
but,
and everything too.
Yeah, not a whole lot of differences.
Yeah.
The shapes are still there.
So funny.
Costumes. So Beth Rogers is credited as the costume designer on this film, but I couldn't find out anything about her because this is her only IMDb credit.
Oh man.
However, as you can imagine, costumes were not exactly prioritized in the budget for this film. Most of the actors just wore their own clothes, and Jamie bought her own outfits at JCPenney for $100.
JCPenney.
Yeah.
What a time.
Isn't that?
What a time.
Love her. Picture vehicles. I've never really had a chance to talk about picture vehicles before, but here I got like a whole bunch of picture vehicle facts, which were cool. The station wagon that Michael steals has like a weird, interesting backstory of its own. So it was rented for 2 weeks for production. Rental company then sells it once it's returned. The person who bought it doesn't know that it's the Halloween car, keeps it in a barn for decades before a collector requires it, refurbishes it, and starts taking it on the road to horror cons. But imagine you just like go into your grandpa's barn and the Halloween car is just gathering dust in the corner.
Not only do I love station wagons, I really love old station wagons.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
I want one so bad.
It's gorgeous.
To buy it and then have it sit
I
just makes my
know.
little like horror history heart
I'm
hurt
so glad that it got like bought by a collector.
That's so that's crazy that someone just like bought it and didn't do anything. I'm
Just
so glad someone
parked it in a
tracked it down.
barn. And the Phelps Auto Service truck that you see, like parked on the side of the road, actually belonged to the catering company. That's the catering car.
Listen, you gotta do what you gotta do. That's smart.
And Carpenter uses his own Cadillac as a picture card too.
Oh,
So like,
funny.
yeah, lots
so
of good picture
fun.
card tidbits. There is also a tidbit about how they do the shot where Michael Myers breaks the glass, but for that,
Yeah.
I think
wait.
you might know the tidbit there, but for that you must wait.
Yes.
Soundtrack. Okay. I think probably a lot of people have heard already the story that John Carpenter completed the cut of Halloween before composing the music. Shows it to an executive, and the executive is like, "What the fuck? This isn't scary."
Yeah.
Here's how Carpenter tells it. Quote, No.
Yeah, of course. Of course, that's how this quote starts.
Before we were recording the music, I showed the movie to an executive as an example of my work so I could get another job. The executive said, that isn't scary at all. But with the music, it got a lot scarier. But it was always going to have the music. So...
No one said it wasn't, my guy.
No, you've not refuted the story
so
at
funny.
all.
He's
like so cranky. I love it.
He's definitely get off my lawn.
But before we dive into the OST, just had to give a shout out to the needle drops. Obviously, there's the iconic "Don't Fear the Reaper" moment, which gets picked up in X. There's also another radio song attributed to the Coupe de Villes, which is actually just an impromptu band that Carpenter and some of the crew formed on set.
Cute.
Adorable.
I love that.
So good. Oh my god, I love this. So to lead us into talking about the OST proper, there's this great interview I found where the interviewer says, so you've written, directed, and scored the music, edited, and produced several of your movies. How do you juggle so many responsibilities? And Carpenter just goes, with great difficulty.
Leaves the room. First and last question of that interview.
Yeah, with great difficulty. He's honest. I love it.
That.
I found it very refreshing.
It's him, but in a nicer way than I thought it was gonna be.
With great difficulty. I like picture it in like an Alan Rickman voice
Right?
almost. Yeah. So and like great difficulty, you don't say. According to interviews, at this point in his life, I think this has since changed. Carpenter did not read music at all. So he, his dad played violin at a pro level and taught at a college. So he was exposed to a lot of music from an earlier age. Put a pin in dad, but, but like he basically was like, I can play keyboard.
Right.
I can't read or write it.
Yeah. I couldn't read any of my music growing up. I just
you just play by ear.
Hopes no one noticed.
Yeah. I adore that for you.
I was first chair, so
that's so funny.
You know the movie Drumline? That meant a lot to me.
That's
that movie.
Incredible.
The movie struck my soul.
But I feel like we don't really think about this in terms of like piano keyboard as much as we do in terms of synths for the score. So let's talk about synths. Yes. Here's a quote from Carpenter. Quote, I had no clue about computers. When I first did my early scores, I worked with a guy named Dan Wyman. He was an electronic music teacher at USC. And he had all these tube amplifier synths. So I ended up going into his studio for my early scores, like Assault on Precinct 13 and Halloween. I would say, okay, give me some strings. It's written into the interview. It says, make string sounds.
Oh my gosh, incredible. Nicely done.
Thank you. I had no idea what he was doing, but I could play them on a keyboard, and that was the whole trick.
I mean...
But the iconic theme, oh my god, I loved finding this out. So part of the reason that it feels very, part of the reason it's so memorable and so distinctive is that it's in 5/4 time, which gives it this very off-kilter feeling, because it's like you have most Western music, the most common time signature is 4/4, and so you have like an extra beat per measure than beyond what you're used to. So it gives it this kind of offbeat, off-kilter feeling. That rhythm is, in fact, here we take the daddy pin out, ode to Carpenter's violinist father, who exposed 13-year-old Carpenter to that time signature, not on string instruments, but on bongos. We owe the Halloween theme to a
bongos.
13-year-old playing a bongo beat.
Oh my god.
Here's a quote.
Whoa.
I remember exactly where I was. I remember the pair of bongos. I remember my father suggesting the 5/4 timing. It was such a unique deal. I hadn't thought about it before, really. Later on, I worked with other time signatures and scores, but then I was just 13 and it blew my mind, man.
Oh my god. Deep cut tattoo. Get a pair of bongos. Be like,
Yes.
This is my Halloween
Yeah.
tattoo.
That's John Carpenter's bongos from Halloween.
Wild.
And he records the entire
little
thing.
hippie.
I know. Man.
Yeah.
So many of Carpenter's quotes end with man. I tried to take them out of most of them. That one I left in.
That's
But
so funny.
and the entire score for this movie, not composed to picture,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
composed in just 3 days.
That's cool.
The iconic main theme took about 1 hour total.
Wow.
Like start to finish, and it's credited to the Bowling Green Philharmonic because Carpenter grew up in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So it's
Aw.
just him and this synth dude. That's the Bowling
Wow.
Green Philharmonic.
That's so cute.
Easter eggs. This is one of the earliest examples of like horror directors quoting horror directors. So Carpenter has characters watching The Thing from Another Planet, which of course he remakes as The Thing. Annie tells Laurie that she should take Dick Baxter to the prom. Carpenter goes on to use the name Dick Baxter for one of the victims in the theme. And the opening shot very much quotes Touch of Evil, which also stars Janet Leigh,
Oh.
Jamie Lee Curtis's mom.
Stop. I love that.
This film releases on October 24th, 1978 in Kansas City, Missouri. Cue the Chapel Roan.
Yeah.
Then gets picked up by Aquarius Releasing for certain metro US areas. The rights get like very divvied up very quickly, which is kind of interesting. And as we all know, this was kind of like the Jaws of the indie horror world. It made so much back against its tiny budget that it like redefined the expectations for others in the genre in ways that ultimately may not have been
Wow.
good for the genre. We can't fault Halloween for that though.
Yeah.
But anyway, it makes 47 mil domestically, plus another 23 mil
Holy.
internationally for 70 mil total
Holy.
against a $320,000 budget.
I was gonna guess 40 mil period.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah, 47 just domestically, which in
Wild.
today's money would be almost 346
It's like a Marvel
million.
movie.
Yeah.
Jesus
It's like
Christ.
and the like
Wow.
300K would be about like 1.5 or something today. So it's like a $1.5 million
Gagged.
dollar movie
Gagged.
earning Marvel movie
Gagged.
figures.
That's insane.
Scream goes on to pass it later, but at the time it's the most successful slasher movie ever made, which like, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
And it does great business in the home video market. Actually, the
Mm.
first VHS release of Halloween goes on to be such a collector's item that one sold on eBay for an insane $13,000.
Christ. Can you imagine just having one of those?
I know, like you'd never watch it. It
Yeah,
costs
no.
$13,000. And I found this really interesting because obviously I'm deep in like sound work on my film right now. If you want to recreate the original theatrical experience, you've got to hunt down the 1997 DVD because that's the only modern media version that uses the original theatrical release mono audio. This was a mono audio release, and
That's really
since then it's
cool.
been like beefed up
Sure.
with like new sound effects and stuff added on. So like the version we both watched would have had like
More
it
stuff.
wouldn't have had all of the original cheesy 80s 70s
Yeah.
80s sounds. So if you want those,
Dang.
the 97 DVD is
Okay.
your best bet.
Oh, I love that.
There's also an audio commentary with the cast and crew taped in 2003. I watched the whole thing. There's a new transfer that was done under the DP Dean Cundy's supervision in 2013, and in 2021, Scream Factory put out a 4K Ultra HD Dolby Vision scan, which again is like, I think that's always just kind of silly when you're talking about films that are made this cheaply. Like it was
Yeah, you
never
wanna-
intended to
you
be
wanna
seen that
hear it
sharp.
that way, yeah.
There's a great theatrical release story from PJ Souls about like a time she saw it in the audience and what
Oh,
the
I love
audience
these
did.
stories.
Gotta wait for that though.
Ah, fuck.
Just gonna tee that one
God
up.
damn it.
There is kind of an extended edition of this movie, and it's a very weird story.
Extended? I don't think we need more time
Oh,
tacked onto this.
Carpenter agrees.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So here's the reason why it exists. So
Yeah,
NBC
damn.
acquires the TV rights to the movie. Asking price was $3 million. We don't know how much they actually paid, but interesting to know that. As you can imagine, there's a lot of back and forth between the filmmakers and standards and practice about what can and can't be in the TV version, but it's also, once standards and practices have gone through it, too short to fill a standard block. And so, at this point, Halloween 2 is already in production, and so even though Carpenter isn't directing Halloween 2, he goes back to set and films another 12 minutes of footage for Halloween 1 on the set of Halloween 2 to be inserted back into the original
Oh my
only for
God.
TV. But unlike Jacob's Ladder, these are not scenes where you're missing important plot stuff. It's like very
shit.
expository stuff, like Dr. Loomis in the sanatorium interviewing baby Myers, Loomis looking at Myers' cell after the escape and seeing his scratched sister into the walls, shit like that.
That's what he talks about, because he kind of those were his qualms with Rob Zombie is that he also said too that he didn't ever intend or like he always said like Michael Myers is supposed to be like this force of nature, which
Yeah.
I feel like then he has the qualms with Rob Zombie doing more of that.
Right.
But I wonder if Rob Zombie took those points
From
the TV movie.
Probably, especially because that ties more into the plot of Halloween 2, where it's revealed that Laurie is Michael's sister, which is not like part of this film. As Carpenter himself put it, quote, "I just added a lot of foolish crap, nothing particularly good."
Listen, he was
He's
getting
honest.
paid to fucking fill some time, and he did it. So sure.
The one good thing that the TV version does give us, though, is that it reveals that Michael Myers' middle name. Take a guess from me at what Michael Myers' middle name.
Bartholomew.
Honestly, not far. Audrey. Michael Audrey Myers.
Jesus Christ.
Isn't that dumb?
Your reaction to that? Yeah.
Michael Audrey Myers.
What were they doing there? What do you think they were thinking?
Imagine you're being chased by a masked man and you're like, Audrey, no!
I'd be like, Audrey, chill out, bro. That's so weird. What a weird thing to...
It's
like, who
absurd.
cares? Michael A. Myers.
Michael A. Myers. Okay, we're rounding the corner here. We're almost done. Critics and audiences. Reactions are pretty positive from the get-go. Sure. It does most of its business at the box office on word of mouth rather than on marketing spend. And so you see it doesn't do well its first week, and then it does increasingly better and better. As an example, Gene Siskel gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars and wrote that, quote, "Carpenter knows how to shock while making us smile. He repeatedly sets up anticipation of a shock and delays the shock for varying lengths of time," which unsurprisingly is exactly what critics giving negative reviews were upset with. Some called it too slow or too tedious. Ebert himself gives it a perfect 4 out of 4, compares it to Last House on the Left, and writes that, quote, "This is so fun."
That's a weird thing to compare it to, but okay.
Yeah, I don't really see that one as much. Especially, like,
I'm curious
this one is spooky. Last House on the Left, like, frightens
deeply
me.
terrifying.
Yeah. Writes, quote, "Halloween is a visceral experience. We aren't seeing the movie. We're having it happen to us. It's frightening. Maybe you don't like movies that are really scary. Then don't see this one."
Funny.
It holds a 97 from critics, 89 from audiences on Rotten Tomatoes, one of our highest yet, and honestly higher than I was expecting.
Yeah, same.
Nominated for a Saturn Award for Best Horror, lost to Wicker Man, which is tough competition, but also I'm like, Wicker Man came out in 1973. How were these two in competition in the same year? Maybe it got its US release in 1978? I don't know. Chicago Film Critics names it the 3rd scariest movie of all time after Psycho and The Exorcist. Was selected for preservation by the Library of Congress, and Michael's been named the best slasher villain by LA Weekly. The retrospective honors are extensive. Changes Carpenter's life immensely, too.
Sure.
Makes possible future projects like The Thing, but he also tries to stay very down-to-earth about it, and I found this hilarious quote from a 1979 interview that I had to bring in because it's just, what an image. He says, quote, "I have a toy that hangs in the kitchen. It's a plastic face of an ugly old woman, and you pull a string and she spits in your face and laughs. A hollow recorded laugh. And every time I think I've accomplished something great, I go in and I pull that string and it spits in my face and laughs. That's my way of staying down to earth. I think when you take something you've done too seriously, you begin to lose it."
I think he's already lost it. That first one, want it.
Yeah.
2, I'll do that for you.
Yeah, Al's
I'll
here to spit in your face.
and laugh. Oh my god.
A hollow recorded
That
laugh.
is so funny.
Isn't that...
aren't just
it really
all
paints
those
a
creatives
picture
are
of this
fucking
person,
weird.
doesn't
Yeah.
it? Like,
Wasn't that funny? Also, I need to find that on eBay.
Oh yeah,
I have a personal mission to find that now.
I know. I was like, what kind of a toy spits at you? I love this.
He had it custom made.
Okay, so we go on to get a lucky 13 total installments in the franchise from Halloween
Holy
2.
fuck,
I
I
know.
didn't realize.
All the way to 2022's Halloween Ends. Carpenter doesn't direct any. He and Hill co-write the first sequel. He co-composes music for 2 and 3. And he and Hill produce but don't write Halloween 3, which infamously does not feature Michael Myers. Myers then comes back for Halloween 4, but Carpenter does not. And the continuity issues stack up higher and higher as you go along.
Sure.
Carpenter does, though, seem pretty fond of the 2018 remake. He, actually kind of stands by that one. And he worked on its soundtrack with his son, so he comes back and supports that project, which I think
really
is cool.
cute. I have to watch those still.
I do too.
I own them.
Oh.
Thinking I owned the original. Didn't look at the date.
Amazing.
That's so cute. Him and his son.
Yeah, I think it's him, his son, and his stepson all work together.
That's adorable.
There's, all kinds of spin-offs. There's novelizations. There's one that went out of print and one that is in print. We have the one that's in print is going to be at sale at Beastly alongside Halloween. That's the version that's set in 2018 that has the current Jamie Lee Curtis family chronology where she has a daughter and granddaughter. So that's the one that we have. There's also an Atari game made for it that's allegedly way gorier than the movie, which I'm extremely curious about.
Same.
Soundtrack's gone on to be hugely influential. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, some of my favorite film composers working today, released an official cover of the theme. It's been sampled by Rob Zombie on I'm Your Boogeyman, obviously, so there's a little tie-in there. Just a weird little note here that according to AFI, Carpenter sued the producers in 2008 for failing since 2004 to send him up-to-date accounting for the film. But the results of that suit don't seem to be public, so I don't know what happened there. Yeah.
I feel like you're too much money.
Yeah. Let's see. I feel like I tackled most of the Film Theory Rant Corner stuff that I wanted to, and I also know we're out of time, but I do want to just shout out that after the screening ends, I only took 2 notes from this film because I was so locked into it. The first was that Loomis reminds me of, the kind of pseudo trailer that Hitchcock shot for Psycho, where he's taking a tour of the Psycho house and is and the terrible murder. Oh, I can't tell you about that. It was very much giving me that. The Loomis performance was very much giving me that when he's it happened here.
Hitchcock is so freaking stiff
with
shit. So
very similar performance style.
Yeah.
And so then finish the movie, lights come up, Dana turns to me and goes, Jamie Lee Curtis, more like Jamie Lee Coitus.
Oh my god.
And that's all I've got. On that note.
If I Freudian slip that, I swear to God.
Jamie Lee Coitus.
Oh my God. Shut the fuck up. We're done. That's great.
Podcast over.
T-shirts
Happy Halloween,
made.
everybody.
That's your treat.
Honestly, I feel like Jamie Lee Curtis would really
like
a Jamie Lee Coitus shirt.
I feel like
she
that
probably
bitch
does.
One.
I mean, I know there's all the... Well, you haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, but her character has hot dog fingers at one point. She's kept... She has her own hot dog fingers now and makes videos with them.
Of course
she's
she
great.
Does. She's
what an icon.
Doing life correct.
She really is. She knows how to live.
Yeah.
Does Jamie Lee? So that's Halloween.
I don't know if you made me feel much better about my opinion.
Hopefully, we at least contextualized why it's famous.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's the important part. I don't not recognize that part.
You don't have to love it to respect it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, Michael Myers is still one of he is of all the classic. He's my favorite.
Yeah,
I love him. He's so funny.
Interesting.
But the little his mannerisms in this are so fun, and I just really see the Michael Myers to Scream.
Yes.
And I appreciate that so much because if I didn't have Scream in my life,
where would we be?
I would be there'd be a hole in my heart and I wouldn't know why.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, there's so many, I mean, the score, just more so the not the main one, but the ding 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 ding
Oh,
one.
yeah.
That like secondary, I don't know what you want to call it, is
The
like,
like almost Jaws-y one.
oh, I love it. Oh, do I love that. I want to walk around and crunch on leaves to that for hours.
Which they couldn't do since they didn't have
I know they couldn't, but I can. Yeah, the leaves,
Yeah.
those are I'm glad that the pumpkins, that helps make me angrier.
So in this episode, you all got to see Al go from disliking to hating Halloween.
Yeah, I got to see. Listen, my opinion and my opinion only.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was fun. It was good to rewatch it again. And I really want to watch. I'm happy I watched Halloween 3 just to see what the fuck it was all about.
Yeah.
Wild Ride. I also just a little wreck. That one was fun. And Night of the Demons. I finally watched. We have to cover that. It was incredible. Oh, boy, oh boy. Opposite watching experience for me on that one, but it makes me kind of want to watch now the 2018 and kind of see where.
Again, I've heard it's quite good.
Yeah,
Todd,
people loved it.
Todd was talking about too. He was like, "That's like the one that really like pays homage to the original the best." So yeah, I'm very curious now.
And isn't Paul Rudd in a? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we got a nod.
Yeah,
he's in one. I've seen that one,
and he's credited as like Paul. It like uses his middle name because it's so early in his career.
He didn't have his like stage.
Yeah.
Name. Oh my god, I love when you see actors do that. Little stage names are so fun.
And I think came out the same year as Clueless, if I'm remembering correctly.
Oh yeah, because he was like really baby and new then. So, but yeah, no, I'm kind of excited to see the other ones. Moving on.
All the ones that John Carpenter hates.
Listen,
there's so many great quotes from him being like, "Listen, I don't like them, but they pay me, so I'll keep taking the checks." And I'm like, I love.
Get your bag, man.
Absolutely.
You created the things. Like, I think that's, whatever. And I love so many other projects of his. He's done so much shit.
Yeah. I mean, again, The Thing alone.
The Thing alone. Listen.
It's The Thing.
Truly the best. I can't wait to watch that in
also,
November.
Prince of Darkness. Like,
Prince of Darkness fucked.
Oh.
Yeah. So, anyways, on that note.
Yeah. We'll be right back. Whenever you need to scrub the dead away, choose from one of the many tantalizing scents from Creeps and Coffins, a woman-owned small business with products to invigorate your soul. Creeps and Coffins offers an array of all-natural body care products to help you get your skin so soft it's to die for. Ghoul-tested and witch-approved scents range from fruity to musty. There's truly something wicked for everyone. Scrub away the grim with their sugar scrubs, invoke relaxation with their wax melts, slaughter dry skin with their body butters, and hail eternal peace from another realm with their signature whipped soaps. To enjoy a moisture massacre, use code SPLICE for 10% off your purchase. Check out creepsandcoffins.com today, where horror meets hydration.
And we're back. Just bitching about things. And here we are.
Found out during the break that there is a John Carpenter directed film shot in New Mexico.
Oh,
Vampires?
That's what you all were talking about.
Yeah, that's what we were talking. Yeah, apparently there's a line where they're like, what was it?
That's what the line's from.
Just another New Mexican shithole. Perfect place for a vampire nest.
Just another New Mexican shithole. Perfect place for a vampire nest.
Fucking amazing.
Which, like, that's my house.
That's why I give you guys all the cheap vampire teeth today.
There you go. Yeah.
You could just walk
just
around
another
saying
New Mexican shithole. Perfect place for a vampire nest.
So it's iconic, to be fair.
So
good.
Great. I love that. Anyway, I'm wildly distracting us.
No, it's our Friday. It's the Friday before this comes out. So House of a Thousand Corpses. Obviously, I've made you watch one Rob Zombie film.
Yes.
Arguably the worst thing to make you watch first for a Rob Zombie film.
Yeah, I've got to say, I feel like I would have liked it a lot better if I'd watched this first.
This should have
been first. A much easier entry point for me.
Listen, I just loved Halloween 2 so much. Well,
I know it was like, I can't remember how hard I was on it, but I know I did not like connect with Halloween 2.
Yeah, I mean, it was for vibes.
Yeah,
the vibes of Halloween 2, unlike John Carpenter's Halloween, actually feels like Halloween. So
it was true.
It was a vibe pick, and then
that makes sense.
we were trying so hard to find something, like, what do you even pair
What
with?
can stand up next to
Yeah.
Halloween?
I think House of a
I
Thousand
think this was an
Corpses,
excellent choice. Yeah.
and there's a lot of similarities.
yeah.
So
Yeah, especially in the like haunted house vibe, like you were
yes,
talking about.
yes.
Yeah.
So pinning that
Yeah.
directly. It's are we just
Let's just-
vibes? Should we talk about how you feel about it first?
Enjoyed it significantly more than Halloween 2.
Yeah.
I don't think Rob Zombie's ever going to be like my thing.
You
but
have to-
that's
He is or he isn't.
yeah. Like I feel like it's just like there's people that is so for, and I'm so not the audience for it. But like I
Yeah.
feel like
You wouldn't seem the audience for Rob Zombie.
and like I hate to fulfill that stereotype, but like I'm
No.
gonna fulfill that stereotype.
It's also so I'm gonna start us off here. So House of a Thousand Corpses is 2003, but
Mhm.
also 2000 question mark. So we'll talk
okay.
about that.
I weirdly had in my head that it was
Yeah.
for 2000,
Yes,
and then I
'cause
was like putting in my
it
notes,
is.
and then I was like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
great,
if anyone else is
fantastic.
confused, 2000, 2003,
Amazing.
I have the answer.
Love.
So kind of the start of like what to expect from a Rob Zombie film. I actually moved
What
this
to
up in
expect
my
when you're Rob
notes.
Zombieing?
Truly. So kind of researching, actually it was Trav came across a Reddit thread talking about like what, like weirdly enough after we'd watched it, like what genre is Rob Zombie music?
Mhm.
And
As I spill water all over myself, great,
it's
fantastic.
okay. I'm like out of breath because I chugged mine like a toddler before this, so I don't pass out this time.
Just
But
pretend it's like a blood splash.
I was
down
gonna
my
say that's
shirt.
kind of what
Yeah.
I was giving. Vampire.
Great.
So yeah, people kind of on this Reddit thread were like trying to figure out what Rob Zombie genre
Mm-hmm.
of music is, and someone like people put a bunch of stuff, and then someone
Mhm.
kind of said Rob Zombie is a genre,
It feels like it,
and so I
yeah.
feel like
it feels
in
like
the
the
same
same
way
is true of his films, too.
films.
Yeah.
So I just am putting that out there that if you like his music and the vibe that is around that, you will like his films. If you're not into, it's like
Yeah.
it's not one or the other. It is
Yeah.
both, and you like it or you don't.
I
and
think
that's
so.
what I love about him.
You know what I just realized? I feel like the closest point of comparison that I can think of is actually John Waters.
Sure. Yes.
I think
Yes.
that's like they're kind
John
of doing
Waters is-
similar-ish things.
Absolutely.
And I love
'Cause
John Waters, but
it's
like that maybe helps
schlocky,
me get like a little bit more into
it's
the
campy.
yeah. It's like
It's not.
it's intended to offend.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, it's if you don't like like that's why even getting older, obviously very much in college when I'm like finding myself,
Mhm,
his stuff really hit for me.
mhm.
It is funny sometimes like the dialogue sometimes gets me now that I'm older. It's like where I used to curse like a goddamn sailor.
mhm.
I'm like a little bit more refined, not fully.
The number of R words thrown around in the first 5 minutes of
Oh,
the movie
listen,
was a
listen,
lot.
It's not
It's very 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hard watch sometimes, but it's so funny like growing. There's like aspects of it that I appreciate, but I gotta say, for me rewatching this, it's been a minute. I used to watch this in Devil's Rejects all the goddamn time, which is his part of the trilogy of these
Which
Firefly.
came first?
House. So
House,
House,
okay, great.
House is his first film.
Oh, damn.
Of-
Okay, that gives
This
me
set it up.
more respect for it as
Yeah,
well.
very
Yeah.
first film. So
Wow.
I have some taglines. I'm just gonna start there. They are very Rob Zombie.
Mhm.
They're nothing crazy.
Oh my god, I forgot to write down the main tagline for Halloween is "The night he came home." I forgot to shout that out. Anyway,
That's on the
yeah.
poster, right?
Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
one? Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Actually.
Anyway, continue.
They're not great. There's a lot of conversation about him kind of reinvigorating horror. So true horror is back. We have You'll Never Get Out Alive. We have
good.
God Bless This House. Which
Okay,
might be
that's my favorite.
favorite.
That's my favorite.
And then in the most Rob Zombie of all, we have Life and Death Are Meaningless and Pain is God.
Okay, you know what it should have been is Dr. Satan bless this house. That's what it should have been.
Dr. Satan was I kind of have a moment. It was like a weird
Oh.
after thing a little bit.
Yeah, because it doesn't feel like fully integrated into
I'm gonna
the
be honest.
plot.
First time I watched it, I was like,
Yeah.
"Where'd this come from?" Love
Yeah.
him.
Oh,
But
he's
where's
great.
this?
But
So-
like, what's happening? Yeah.
It just goes.
Yeah, great.
So writer director Rob Zombie. He also co-scored this, so I love that
Another
Carpenter.
crossover, yeah.
Even though they're fighting, the girls are fighting. It's fine. So like I said, it's his first film.
Mhm.
The Firefly family has it's kind of like a trilogy. So we have House of a Thousand Corpses, we have Devil's Rejects, and then we have Three from Hell, which sadly no one at me I've not seen because it's just been outside. I think that was 20.
We watched it.
Oh. Uh-oh.
I watched it apparently. See, this is why I don't trust my own memory.
So it sounds like it wasn't Al's
hold on,
favorite.
we're gonna pause.
perhaps.
What
Yeah.
were my feelings? Did I fall
Both
asleep?
think, oh, that was a movie.
Oh, that was a movie. Was my
That was-
reaction? Okay.
Yeah.
Things were recorded.
It was
Yeah.
2019, right? That one
Uh,
later. I just feel like
ish,
here's
yeah.
my thing with Rob Zombie.
He's like so early 2000s.
This movie feels. This is Rob Zombie. This movie is Rob Zombie to me.
Mhm.
And I feel the same way about Tim Burton. They
Mhm.
get lost
Yeah.
with money.
Yep.
Doesn't-
Don't give those men money.
Same thing with Robert Eggers. I'm
Yeah.
like, don't give
Keep
them that
it
much
the
money.
fuck away from
Yeah.
some of these because they're just
Yeah.
so good on a minimal
Yeah.
budget. So
Yeah. Keep them struggling.
yeah, truly. So obviously he had a lot of experience directing his own music videos. So Super Beast, Dragula, Living Dead Girl, all the bops that I love the most. So he was very familiar with telling stories. He had his aesthetic. This was just on a bigger scale. So like I said, composer, he co-composed with Scott Humphrey. Scott Humphrey is most known for keyboards, producing, engineering, mixing, remixing. He worked with Motley Crue, Metallica, Tommy Lee,
Nice.
Andrew WK, and NSYNC, which I think is funny, thrown in the mix.
It's so incongruous.
And then he has not done a ton of films, but he did do the music for Idle Hands, which I don't know if I brought up music in that.
I don't know if we
but
talked
it's
about that.
So good.
Yeah, that's so funny.
And soundtracks for Matrix and Matrix Reloaded, which
oh, sick. Wow.
yeah, so he's
Cool.
dabbled, but
Yeah.
he's kind of
Not done a whole
a-
lot, but everything he's done has been like huge.
yeah.
Interesting.
That's probably why he hasn't worked a lot. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm good.
Yeah. If it's not the Matrix, I'm not going to
Yeah,
score
yeah,
it.
yeah. It's not a big budget. Cinematographer. You'll notice there were 2 DPs.
I was curious about that.
I wish I had more information. So first we have Alex Pappas, is how I think.
Which
assume.
name sounded
Pappas.
familiar. Have we covered something he's done before?
Not that I found.
Okay.
He did 7 episodes of Ghost Hunters.
Oh.
He does like a lot of reality, like ghost alien
Oh,
adjacent. So
interesting.
Alien Encounters.
Cool.
So he's kind of done more of that. And then, like I said, I couldn't find details, but it sounds like he might have walked from the project. And he hasn't done a ton since. So I don't know if he felt the vibe, if Rob Zombie didn't like
Again, I feel like it's
him.
the sort of thing where you're either in or you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like Rob Zombie probably has, I mean, not probably, he has such a vision for his own shit that it's like you can work with him or
Yeah.
you can't.
Yeah. You probably have to have like a little bit more of a supportive, like backseat driver personality.
Yes, I would assume so.
Yeah.
So in comes Tom Richmond. He did 1988 Stand and Deliver.
Oh.
2008's Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, which I love, to
That's
be fair.
so funny.
1983's Canned Heat and 1994's Little Odessa. So random
Weird. Yeah.
things. I'm assuming Rob probably knew him through somebody, and that's how he got the gig. Jumping kind of into starring. So the Firefly family names were taken from names from Groucho Marx characters.
Oh my
I think Rob Zombie
God.
talks about him
That's
a lot.
really cute.
So we have Captain Spaulding from 1930's Animal Crackers. We have Otis B. Driftwood from 1935's A Night at the Opera. Rufus T. Firefly, so there's the Firefly name, taken from 1933's Duck Soup.
Oh my God, of course.
And Hugo Hackenbush from 1937's A Day at the Races.
Incredible.
So much like Carpenter, we have
Loves
references.
an Easter egg name.
Yes. So when it came to Rob Zombie's approach to casting, he said he wrote the roles specifically for Sid Haig, Bill Moseley, Sherry Moon, of course, and Chris Hardwick, which I always forget he's in this.
Yep.
So they were already kind of in mind. He knew he wanted them cast. But for the other actors, he talks about how he never really tries to go for recognizable marquee names and more just people he thinks are cool. So if that gives you kind
Love
of an
that.
insight. So I do have a quote from him talking about this auditioning process. So he said, quote, "People always think like, oh, there's a million actors and they're going on a casting call. It's a waste of time. No, it's not. There's a million actors, but there's a million shitty actors. So the good ones stand out quick.
That's so funny.
Yeah. It wasn't like it was between Rainn Wilson and 50 other guys. As soon as I saw him, I go, that's the guy.
Yeah.
Same with Walton Goggins. The people that are interested pop out quick, and that's what you're looking for. I think Universal didn't like any of my casting picks back then. They really questioned Rainn Wilson's casting and some others.
Wow.
And kept making me bring them back. Back then, if you think of that time period, it would have been more conventional to cast models. I wasn't going for that look. I was trying to find people that were a little bit older and not, gorgeous, which I'm like, oh, everyone's pretty. Just happened to be driving cross country. I like people to look normal.
Like people. Yeah.
Yes. So, bravo on that.
Love
I think
that.
people need to do that more because seeing so much Botox in Hollywood is killing the
Yeah.
vibe.
Yes. Especially that's your
it's-
instrument. Your face is your instrument.
Yeah, let that shit move.
Yes.
You're supposed to emote.
Yes, that's the whole job.
Unless you want to be a physical Michael Myers mask.
Yes, literally.
So, I could go on for hours about that. So we have Sig Haig as Captain Spaulding. He passed away in 2019. I saw a few of him at Morgan Crypt, people dressed up.
Oh,
still.
amazing.
His makeup's so iconic.
It's
I
so
tried to
good.
find information about it, and I
Oh.
couldn't. It's just people doing tutorials,
Oh,
which is sad.
it tells you how beloved it is,
Yeah,
though.
just so many tutorials. So he's most known for his appearances, obviously in horror films and these ones. So he's in 1,000 Corpses, Devil Rejects, and then he started to get sick around 3 from Hell because he passed in 2019. During the time of House of 1,000 Corpses, though, he was retired. So he had retired from acting in 1992 because he felt like he kept getting typecast. He said, quote, "I just didn't want to play stupid heavies anymore. They just kept giving me the same parts and putting different clothes on me. It was stupid and I resented it and I wouldn't have done I wouldn't have anything to do with it." So he fully left. He had been out since 1992, and this is 2000. So during that time, he was actually offered the role of Marcellus Wallace in Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction. I did not know that.
That's
But
wild.
he turned it down. Not only was he retired, but he turned it down because he saw the shooting script, saw the short number of days dedicated for each locale, and he passed on the project mainly because he had previously, when he quit, done a bunch of low-budget TV shows, and he was like, this is probably just going to be something like that, and I don't want to be a part of it. Obviously, he regrets his decision, but
Man.
Tarantino wouldn't let it go, and he said he didn't forget about him and wrote a specific part for him in 1997's Jackie Brown, which you just watched.
Yes, wait, who was he in Jackie Brown?
I don't know. I haven't seen Jackie Brown.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I mean,
now
he
I've
looks
gotta
very
think back.
different without the makeup.
Yeah,
to be
it's
fair.
hard to picture that face
Yeah.
in
And
the Jackie Brown context.
Spaulding is like such a grotesque. I mean, he's
Yeah.
amazing in Devil's Rejects.
Yeah.
He really, the dynamic between Otis, Baby, and Spaulding is so funny, and he's so fatherly to them. It's or like uncle, I guess.
Yeah.
But their dynamic. He's just so vile in like the most fun fucking
Amazing.
way, but he's also has such a softness to the character. Do you have the name?
He's the judge. in
Judge and Jackie Brown.
No way.
So Tarantino was like, you have to be in something of mine.
that's
Here's a role. So I think that's so cute. I didn't realize.
Yeah. Oh my god. Also, like, go watch Jackie Brown. Shout out. It's like by far, hands down, the Tarantino I've enjoyed the most. It doesn't feel like a Tarantino
It's with
film.
what's her name?
Yeah. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh. We just talked about her too.
Oh my god. Pam Grier.
Pam Grier.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh
Oh my god. Yeah.
It's also in Kill Bill Volume 2.
Kill Bill Volume 2.
Oh my
Sid Haig said
God.
too. I
I
haven't seen that
love
one.
that.
I've seen that one. Yeah, no. Okay. Moving on. Let's not play the game of what has Al seen and not seen. It's not fun for anybody, specifically me, and realizing I don't have a good short or long-term memory. So moving on to Bill Moseley as Otis B. Driftwood. He looks wildly different in House of 1,000 Corpses than he does in Devil's Rejects.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I don't have it noted. He gets a really big female fan base off of this, myself included. Not from this one because he's really gross. The second one,
Yeah.
he's so hot, but he's
Oh.
not.
Yeah.
But he is.
I was gonna say from this.
No, this one
Okay.
he actually makes me like sick to my stomach, and
yeah,
I'm like, if that
same,
man,
which is like very much the point.
yeah, no, but he gets a really big fan base. He also has like one of my favorite quotes of all time in Devil's Rejects.
Amazing.
So I said he's probably the actor we've covered so far that has this many horror projects. I actually
Yeah.
Googled and I was like, how many horror projects is he in?
He is a horror king.
Yeah, so he's been in roughly 132 films, with 100 plus of those being specifically horror films. So
Oh, I
he's our
love
biggest
that.
horror king of all time. He's at every con.
This is
I'm
what-
terrified to meet him. but
This
I
is
want to.
what Al Pacino wants to be.
I
and
think
never
so.
will.
He just
Yeah.
needs to do schlocky little films. So on top of being in so many Rob Zombie films, he's also Luigi in Repo the Genetic Opera. Obviously, we've talked about him very recently as Chop Top from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Which we need to cover at some point.
We have to. Johnny in the 1990s, Night of the Living Dead, and he plays Captain Harris in like the Ice Nine Kills band like lore. So he's
Aw.
like sprinkled out there, which I think is so cute.
Oh, and he's in Army of Darkness, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for a brief
A
moment,
second,
but he's
yeah.
in there. Otis is meant to be a cross between Charles Manson and then a blues rock artist, Johnny Winter. I brought in a photo. I don't know who Johnny Winter is, but
Okay, yeah, terrifying. It
Yeah,
also very
he's-
much was giving me Riff Raff from Rocky
yeah,
Horror.
absolutely. I know.
Yeah,
When
very
did
big
Rocky
Riff
Horror
Raff.
come out?
78, 7?
It's got to
Play
be.
had
He
been
feels.
going on for years before.
Yeah.
It feels
Yeah.
very riff-raff.
Yeah,
That
definitely
stringy,
existed before.
blonde,
Yeah.
almost balding
Mhm,
hair.
mhm.
Even the posture to a point.
Yeah, very Riff Raff physicality.
Too. His performance in this, or in the sequel, I should say, Devil's
Mhm.
Rejects as Otis, actually inspired an independent campaign to get him a nomination for Best Supporting Actor in Oscars. In so many ways that would not
Incredible.
happen.
Oh my god!
But I
love
think it's so
that.
cute that so many people love him in that one, and so do I. So,
It's so good.
if you like this film, Devil's Rejects is perfect, and it expands on a really good dynamic between those three actors, and
Cool.
it's a tough watch, but it's really good, and
Love.
there's a lot more gore, I would say, in that one too. So.
Interesting.
Moving on, we have Sherry Moon Zombie as
Mhm.
Baby Firefly.
Incredible.
I love her. She originally went to school to be an MTV VJ.
My god.
Met Rob Zombie and went on tour with him as a dancer. Obviously, they have been married for many a decade, and they're cute. And I follow them both on Instagram, and they're so wholesome and
Aw.
vegan, and they have little
Aw.
pups, and they're just very sweet and wholesome,
Mm.
considering the content.
Yeah,
they
no, they
both
seem like good people.
yeah,
Both of
yeah.
them.
We hope. They seem it truly for Hollywood. So I thought it was funny too. I came across like a TikTok. Someone says, or maybe it was a letterbox thing,
Mhm.
being like, I'm pretty sure Rob Zombie puts her in all his films, just to remind us of how hot his wife is.
I think so.
And I hardcore
Absolutely.
agree.
Yeah, strong
She's-
agree.
Yeah, her as Baby is perfect.
yeah.
Her giggle is,
hmm
she's not the best actor.
But I also feel like that's kind of like good for the character.
Yeah.
Like I don't want that character to be like well acted.
Yeah, I know. Bless her. And listen, that's not saying I don't love her.
No.
She's horrible at acting. But I love her. And she's
Yeah.
just likable as Baby.
Absolutely.
So, speaking of the Firefly family, we have the
Mhm.
mother Firefly,
Mm.
played by Karen Black. I actually
Oh.
didn't know her lore. I only know her from this, really. I know her
Oh.
from other things as I read.
I know I recognized her and I recognized the name, but I don't know what from.
Yeah, there might be a few things
Okay.
For you. So I know there was one specifically for me. So
Mm.
she performed on Broadway in 1965 before making her film debut
Wow.
in Francis Ford Coppola's 1966. You're a big boy now.
Oh.
She was in Dennis Hopper's 1969's Easy Rider.
which shot here in part.
Forgot about that.
Mhm.
It led to her co-starring in 1970's Five Easy Pieces, in which she was nominated for an Academy Award
Oh,
and won a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress.
Amazing.
And then she played, this is where I know her from, she played Myrtle Wilson in 1974's The Great Gatsby. I'm like, I had to have seen her face.
Oh yeah.
Which also got her a second Golden Globe. So I'm like,
Damn.
she's like, was in film.
That's
and I love that she's in
incredible.
this.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me.
Oh, I hope it's because she like loves horror.
And he loved her. I think he was like gagged to get her, which I think is
Good.
really
As
cute.
he
'Cause
should
he's
be.
such a historian in so
Yeah.
many ways.
And she was, unlike Sherry Moon, she's a great performer.
I mean,
Yeah.
she's got.
Which again, I
she's
say with
got
love.
awards.
With love.
We have Chris Hardwick, which I always think is so funny as Jerry in this. So he hosted the Talking Dead after show of Walking Dead. So, and then he created Nerdist Industries, which is the Nerdist podcast. I don't know why I find that so weird that he's in this.
Yeah, that's very incongruous
Yeah.
somehow.
We have Erin Daniels as Denise. Obviously, she is Dana in the L Word.
I forgot the character's name's Tina.
Yep. I actually, when I wrote it down, I didn't realize. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, we know it, Dana.
we sure do. We know a gay Dana.
Uh,
One of my biggest crushes from the show.
That's so
Also,
funny.
yeah, so hot. Couldn't place where I was recognizing her from at first, and then when it finally clicked,
Well,
I
because
was
it's so
like,
random.
yeah, I was like, the L word. Yeah.
She actually, her hair gives me Jamie Lee Curtis from Halloween vibes.
Yeah, it very much felt like she was
She should have
made
been
up to look like.
I wonder, she could have, if they did a remake around that time, or even like
Yeah.
one of them, they should have put her
They
in
absolutely could
there.
have.
She would have
Yeah,
been great.
she would have. Very
Um,
similar kind of facial structure.
Yes. What did I? Okay. I have an accident from her, kind of like PJ Souls. So in the scene where she is being pursued by the axe wielding
Mm-hmm.
dude, it was a real axe, and he couldn't really see,
Oh no.
and they just she didn't get hurt, but
Seriously.
they really had to make sure that wasn't happening. Again, we have budgets. Why don't we buy
Yeah.
props?
What are we doing
Yeah.
using a real axe? That's
Yeah.
insane.
So, yeah, everyone was really lucky to walk away unscathed from this entire set. We have Rainn Wilson as Bill.
Incredible.
Obviously, he's Dwight from The Office. He's in Galaxy Quest, Almost Famous, The Meg. When he said he read the script for the first time, he said he was, quote, just plain old-fashioned flabbergasted, and really wanted it. Again, I feel bad that the producers
Didn't want to cast
Yeah, this was
him.
so early in his
Yeah.
career. He's definitely
Pre-Dwight, I feel like it's hard, a lot harder to make
he's
the
so
case.
good.
He's
in this,
incredible.
though.
I love him. I
Yeah.
think Rainn Wilson is wonderful.
Him as a person, not so great, but
Oh, really? I don't know anything.
he's a red hat.
No. Ugh, really? Ew.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
sad.
retract.
Yeah, Dwight's kind of like very much. Rainn Wilson is kind of Dwight
No,
in real life.
No.
No,
Oh my
we've
God,
learned.
that's why I thought he was good.
bummer.
Was it was like, oh, this must be so far from the actor.
No,
No.
it's sad.
Okay.
We lost one. We have Walter Phelan as Dr. Satan. We've talked about him before. He is kind of like a body horror actor in that way.
Oh.
So he was a demon in Demon Knight,
Amazing.
and he was a zombie in From Dusk Till Dawn. So he's kind of always made up. And he was in one of my favorite Goosebumps episodes ever, Escape from Horrorland.
Oh my God, amazing.
He plays a mummy, and he plays a zombie in that too. So he's just, again, always kind of in makeup.
That's so good.
We have Walton Goggins as Deputy Steve Nash.
So young.
It
feels wrong.
He looks like a baby the only time in his career ever,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure it's because they straightened and brushed his hair forward.
And it feels so incongruous.
Yeah, he's so good in a Rob Zombie film.
It's good casting.
Just weird
It fits the
actors.
energy somehow.
Yeah. So, and if you don't know him, Righteous Gemstones,
Yeah.
Fallout series, White Lotus.
Yeah.
Where you been living?
Yeah.
We also have just quick mentions: Tom Towles as Deputy George Wydell, Jennifer Jostin as Mary Knowles, and Matthew McGregory as Tiny, which he's since passed. He's also in Big. Big, yeah.
Big Fish.
Big
Big
Fish.
Fish.
I was like,
Okay,
what's
cool.
the not big? I was like, what's the other word to the movie? He's just so sweet.
And
Anyways, I don't have
great
any
physicality
Yeah,
too.
so good. His little dog bowl scene and just like shrugging and stuff. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
you
that was
angel.
one of my favorite parts of the movie, I've got to say.
So sweet.
It was
He's
really
like, I
good.
just want to. Okay, I
Yeah,
don't really
all right.
care.
I think Devil's Rejects is dedicated to him.
Is it dedicated?
I think right after Devil's Rejects.
Oh, that's so sad. I'm laughing because it's sad. That's sad. Thanks, Trav Downer. And of course, we get a director cameo, but not how it was originally intended. So Rob Zombie was originally going to cameo as Dr. Wolfenstein.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And he said he basically just like looked at like himself in monster makeup. So he's like, I'm not fucking doing this. So he kind of
Did
does
he
like
was it like a vanity thing, or was he like, I'm not scary enough?
I think he was just like, if I'm going to be in monster makeup, I want to look really cool and different. And
That's
so fuck
fair.
it.
Yeah.
So he kind of makes a cameo in the background, like Smashing Pumpkins. So he's just like, I'll
That's
just be back
cute.
here as like,
Yeah. And of
me,
course
and
he's
that's fine.
smashing pumpkins.
Real pumpkins.
Oh my God.
that we got on set. Moving on. So script and studio. This is where we can pull that pin back out of haunted houses and things like that.
Yes.
So obviously Rob Zombie has mentioned how House of a Thousand Corpses was inspired by horror films like Texas Chainsaw, Hills Have Eyes. That's always his love. I think you know, even though he's newer and we're in the 2000s of things, like he's schlocky. I think like he would have I wish he would have been around then because I think there would be so much more. He'd be so much more of an icon for people,
I feel
and
like
they
he
would take
would've-
him seriously.
I feel like he would have had a great time doing like Roger Corman films.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
I just think it's a time where people didn't appreciate that as much. It was a different time for
Yeah,
horror.
I don't think we understood what he was up to.
No, especially with this film. So, Haunted House. The script was actually conceived while Rob Zombie was designing a haunted house maze at Universal Studios Hollywood named House of a Thousand Corpses. I didn't know this. So
That's so cool.
yeah, it was so he had approached someone from Universal. This was his second time making a maze. His first one was in 1999 called The Thrilling Chilling World of Rob Zombie.
Amazing.
House of a Thousand Corpses was one based off of his album that was coming out that year. And so if you went to it during the 2000s, I have like some little flyers from it. You would have noticed it featured characters like Captain Spaulding,
Oh my
Otis, Dr.
God.
Satan, and some ghouls that we see
Amazing.
in there.
Love a good ghoul.
Yeah, the ghouls at the end are so good. And then they played actually the trailer or like pieces from the trailer as you were in line for the queue.
Oh,
so you would have seen a
cute.
lot of pieces of stuff. But then obviously when the film was coming out, was made, they changed his maze to American Nightmare instead. So
okay.
it didn't get confused with the film, which put a pin in why they had to change the name, kind of. So how did we go from a maze to a film?
Yeah.
So Rob Zombie said he was talking to Guy Asari, I think his name is, who was running Maverick Records back then. They were having lunch, and Guy basically just asked him, like, what do you want to do, like, really with your life?
Yeah.
And he was like, I want to make movies. Obviously, he's been directing his music videos. And so from there, Guy actually set up a meeting with his friend at Universal, Kevin Misher.
Wow.
And so Rob Zombie said, quote, "It happened so fast that I kind of pitched a half-assed idea because he wasn't really developing this project, so he was just thrown into this meeting. It seemed like it kind of kept going, and he just kept rambling out things during this meeting.
Love.
And it was the easiest way I ever got a movie made. It was
Wow.
almost like we were so below Universal's radar. It just sort of kept bouncing ahead until we were all of a sudden making a movie.
That's
And
amazing.
he talks about that a lot. I don't watch a fucking Joe Rogan podcast and watch Rob Zombie talking about this. So
Oh no!
it was
you poor
horrible.
thing.
He talks about it a little on there. I would not encourage
Yeah.
anybody to go listen to
Yeah.
that. But yeah, he kind of is like, it's never happened since.
Wow.
Don't do it my way. It was very half-assed, and
Yeah.
I just lucked out. So in a
That's
different
incredible.
interview, he talks about it and said, I was in the office with the head of production or somewhere, and he asked me if I had any movie ideas, and I pitched him Corpses, which was very rough at the time because I wasn't ready, and I made it up on the spot. So I went home, I wrote a 12-page treatment, and met up with them. 2 months later, we were shooting. That's how fast everything happened. That he was developing this
Wow.
maze. I think weeks into it, pitched this, and then 2 months later they were on
That's
set doing
wild.
things, which is insane. So again, kind of there's many it was hard to unfold everything at the right time. So kind of going back to script, so put a pin in production and everything like that. We're gonna keep talking about script. There were a lot of changes to the script during production. He also said the original film would have featured more characters, including more of the skunk ape that we see
Oh my god!
mentions of.
Amazing.
More footage of the 4 teenagers on the road trip. And Universal Studios was actually hoping that the film would focus more on the kids. But Rob Zombie said, nobody gives a shit about the kids. I agree. Fuck them kids.
I mean, he's right. That's not how horror movies work.
No.
It's- Yeah.
And then one of the biggest changes we have is that Grandpa Hugo would have revealed at the end to be the Mad Doctor. So that's kind of his name wasn't, or it wasn't Dr. Satan. So it would have been
Got it.
Grandpa. That's kind of why there feels sometimes it's disjointed and like, whoa, we're getting into this weird
It almost has like
supernatural lore.
horror on anthology vibes.
Sure.
Like almost like it's a selection of little mini scary
Yeah.
short stories.
Yeah. I remember the first couple times watching it. Like the first time watching it, I was like, where did this go?
Yeah.
And then even like forgetting that that's where it goes the next couple times
Yeah.
watching it.
That sounds right.
I love it. I just think all of a sudden we're just there
Yeah, it's
for no reason. But you know what?
it,
Vibes.
You know what it also reminds me of was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It had kind of like a Killer
Oh.
Clowns, like the ending of Killer Clowns,
Sure.
where everybody's
Just all
in
of a
like
sudden.
the like clown cocoons and stuff.
Yeah,
that
you're just
kind
like,
of
how
vibe.
did
You're
we
like,
get here?
what's happening?
You know,
Yeah,
they're cool looking.
once you're
so
inside the
sure.
like alien clown circus tent
Yeah.
spaceship thing, it had kind of that.
I gotta
sort of
rewatch
energy.
that one.
Yeah.
It's so good. But yeah, it kind of just goes, and
Yeah.
we're not addressing that other than it's Rob Zombie, and he kind of does that sometimes. So that was, if that makes more sense to you.
That
Yeah. He also kind of talks about how the film initially was meant to feature elements of black humor, saying how the film, quote, turned out a little wackier and campier than I originally intended, but we were shooting, that was the tone it turned out to be, and movies sometimes dictate their own course, so I just sort of went with it.
I love that.
And also,
like I think it's good that he did. I think it would not have worked if he'd tried to fight that.
I think if he fought it, it would just be bad.
Yeah.
So on that note, when asked about who the audience is supposed to root for, Rob Zombie acknowledges that the audience were meant to root for the Firefly family opposed to the group of teens. But that wasn't really that
What
was something
happened?
he kind of like developed along the way too. He was like,
interesting.
because Universal was very much pushing back on that. So he said, quote, yeah, I wanted the audience to cheer him. I didn't consciously think of it at the time because I was trying to make Bill and Jerry likable for the studios. But it was like when you saw Beetlejuice and you could tell all Tim Burton cared about was Beetlejuice. And I'm like, actually, it's Michael Keaton cared about Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
And that's why, and Tim Burton cared about Michael Keaton. But I thought that was interesting coming off of talking about Beetlejuice, that he was like,
fascinating.
you know, we're not supposed to root for the undead and the
Right.
ghosts, but we end up doing it anyways. So
Yeah.
I thought that was, I don't think he like nail hit head, nail in coffin, but I think it's interesting that we just talked about that in Beetlejuice and that kind of came up.
Well, and it feels very Texas Chainsaw too, in the sense of like by the end of that, you're not really rooting
Fuck
for
them kids.
Sally to get out.
Yeah.
Like you care about Leatherface.
I know.
Yeah.
So in the same way, so it's, again, the studio was like not about it, but that's the way it turns out, and that's why we get the other films in the trilogy. So
Good.
it kind of goes back to oh my gosh, what did I have? A lot of horror writers and directors kind of talk about too that like the concept of this film, he always felt like an outsider. He always felt like an other. You know, he says he didn't intend to be weird growing up, but that's just how it was. And when I would watch monster movies, the monster was always that mentality. And he kind of made this joke about King Kong, like King Kong in the movies is like, why is everyone shooting at me? I was just, or like monsters are like, I was just born yesterday. Like, what did I do with Frankenstein?
I'm just a baby.
I'm just a baby. And so he kind of like loved that aspect of it. I thought that was such a funny thing. And then he goes on to talk about, obviously, when he discovered punk music and kind of the like, fuck society, fuck you mentality. It's like everything kind of culminated into like why his music is what it is and why his films kind of tackle these messages. So that's why we get a lot of like fuck the normies in all of his films, which I
Makes a lot of sense. Yep.
So budget of this film is debatable. Do you want to take a stab at?
Oh God. Did you say this is a Universal film?
Yes, and which we'll talk about.
Okay. But they funded it.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh God.
First movie.
First
feature
with the studio. Something happened, so it was supposed to be 2000, but came out in 2003, which makes me think that probably Universal maybe dropped it, and then that cost extra money.
Dropped it,
and then they had to like find other money elsewhere, basically. Dropped it, and then it just like was sitting for a while until it got distribution. Ooh,
I'm nodding for everyone listening.
Interesting.
Sorry, I nod to I look at the camera. I'm like, wait, we're a podcast.
This is not a visual medium. Oh, that's so hard.
There's a lot of stuff happening in this. So again,
and like the practical effects are really good.
Yeah, guess original budget.
5.
Oh, yeah. So 3 to 4.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say 3, and then I was like, no, it's probably higher if it's Universal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 3 to 4. And then he also in interviews have talked about how it's also between 7 and 14.
Oh,
So
Who knows?
Yeah. I'm wondering. I know they had to do some ending, like the ending. They had to reshoot.
Yeah,
They
that's what I
basically
was.
threw money at them.
That's what I was thinking.
That's
Is
where I'm
like,
thinking it came from.
yeah, it sounds
At
like
least
there
a
was like
majority.
one first chunk in 2000,
Yeah.
and then additional filming and additional funds later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking that whole, because I'm thinking they probably had to shoot that entire underneath sequence. I'm like, that's a
That's a big chunk.
beefy
Yeah, and that's
set
gonna
of things.
cost a lot too.
So 3 to 4 or 7
Okay.
to 14, depending on who you're talking to.
So 5 is right
yeah.
out, but
yeah, you're there. You're in the middle. So location and production. The film was also shot in a month, so 25 days. Production started in May of 2000 and wrapped around Halloweenish. I know that's because they had to do those ending shots. So
Okay,
they
yeah.
had to pause and then they picked up the
Came back.
rest. So the first 2 weeks they spent filming on the Universal Studios Hollywood backlots.
It
And
is so wild that this is like a studio backlot film or started that way.
I think someone was being nice to throw him a bone and then went, what the fuck did we just sign up for?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure his music was popular enough at this point
yeah.
that like it was
It was
probably on
peak.
the strength of that.
Yeah. And they were like, we gave him a Halloween house, so sure, we'll make a movie. That's why, again, he talks about being under the radar.
Yeah.
I don't think if Universal knew what was going on,
They
would
would
have
have. Yeah.
let this happen. And like 3 to 4 mil, even
that's
14
nothing
million,
to them.
please.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the film, the house featured in the film is the same house used in 1982's The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, which is why we get that line.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
Yes, and he talks about too filming on the backlots. I feel like this is kind of like the most notorious thing, because they were shooting outside. There was constantly tram tours, and so things were constantly getting interrupted. And he kind of bitched about it. He was like, "It was atrocious, and I hated it." The other 11 days they shot on a ranch in Valencia, California. And then I wrote a third location enters the chat, as you kind of mentioned, and we talked about 2000, 2003. It was shelved. We'll talk about it in a second. There was a lot of time, so all that kind of like in between footage, basically Rob Zombie just had a camera and was shooting at his house and like other places. So
interesting.
like all the grungy little cutaways we get,
The kind of music video we stuff.
yes,
that's cut
so
in? Yeah.
mostly from his house,
Got it.
and then other locations. So
Interesting.
yeah, all like those kind of bizarre rants that we see them go, like mainly Otis do.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were kind of all done in between.
Interesting.
So kind of moving on to production, a little bit of special effects. I couldn't find a fucking thing.
Wow. You would think that
About-
Rob Zombie would be putting it all out there.
I know that there's like one of the Blu-ray re-releases that they did, I think has stuff. I tried to find stuff online. It was obviously too close for me to get something ordered, which I want to. So I don't know if there's more information. I did watch some behind the scenes. It was basically like cast and crew talking to camera about like, what's your favorite
Interesting.
horror film? And I'm like, this is
not
giving me
helpful.
nothing.
Yeah.
So we do have Wayne Toth though as the special effects supervisor on the film. He started out, I think his second and third. Yeah, so I don't know what his first film was, but his second and third film ever that he was on was Halloween 4 and Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
Wow.
So
that's pretty cool.
Kicked it off. He then went on to do Bride of Reanimator, Death Becomes Her, Men in Black, Drag Me to Hell,
Amazing.
and then also did big projects like Transformers and Godzilla.
Wow.
So he's worked on a lot of stuff. We've also talked about his work before because he worked on The Faculty, and was in the mechanical department of K&B's Army of Darkness.
Oh, sick. So probably
um,
building some mechanical skeletons.
Yes. Yeah. So he's also worked on all of Rob Zombie's films. He's gone on tour with him. He also does mechanical puppets, props, and robots for music videos like Danzig, Alice Cooper, Misfits, Ghosts, and others.
Sick.
And like I said, I couldn't find interviews with him, but Fishboy was meant to have a much longer scene. And
interesting.
yeah. And then also
the look is incredible.
it's amazing. And again, I wanted to find like a build of it.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. And all the kind of details we get of Fishboy, most of it happened after Universal dropped the project. Rob Zombie wanted to bring more gore in, so that's why we get a little bit more exposition of Fishboy in that way. And then we kind of talked off mic about, again, couldn't find quotes, but just talking about the unmotivated lighting in this. It's obviously, if you know his music videos, it's very much like that. And someone, I think on Reddit, kind of started this conversation about how it's kind of like a cinematic version of a haunted house attraction ride, which makes sense because that's what he was working on at the time. Okay, so we can finally pull the pin out of the release of House of a Thousand Corpses and why it did not happen in 2000 like intended, or 2001 like intended. Universal chairperson Stacey Snider, oh my god, I stuttered that, came out of a test screening so horrified by the film and was worried that it would receive the NC-17 rating, which we all know is like the death rating.
Also, though, this is such a funny like parallel between our films that mine there was like somebody executive watching and saying, "Oh, this isn't scary at all," and you're somebody watching is like, "Oh, this is too horrifying." It's like the opposite problem.
Which is funny considering the reviews that Halloween got from so many people, how scary it is.
But it really, well, again, it's apparently all in the music. Anyway,
so NC-17.
I mean, I'm surprised it doesn't have an NC. Does it have an NC-17? Wow.
Which, God, what
for the sheer
fucking
amount
film were we talking about where they just wouldn't they wouldn't give it an
God,
R?
what was that?
Was it Army Darkness?
Yeah.
They just, which is
that's
so stupid.
The
that
fact
movie's
that
so tame
compared to this.
This should every single Rob Zombie
so
film
much
should
more
have an
adult.
NC-17.
Absolutely,
every single one. Just for the opening alone, which feels very Tarantino to me.
It does feel like a very Tarantino opening. Yeah,
I feel like he probably
I feel like
would've loved
Tarantino, Rob Zombie. There's probably like some.
There's got to be
some crossover.
Yeah, I wonder if they've seen each other's works. Who knows?
Sid Haig, I guess that's the crossover.
yeah. That's the linking. That's the connection. Rob Zombie was also at this test screening. He thought it went amazing, so very opposite of her, because he was like, the audience was engaged and they were cheering and yelling, but he was like, probably to the wrong people, to the point of we weren't cheering for the teens, we were cheering for the bad guys.
But again, that's what he wanted.
That's why it works.
Yeah.
So he said right after the screening, he was in the lobby. She came out, Stacey Snider, and he was like, "Hey, it was great, right?" And all Stacey said to him was, "Come to my office tomorrow. We need to talk." And left.
Jesus Christ, that's so horrible.
And he's like, "Well, shit." So he said, quote, "I went the next day and she basically said this movie is unreleasable and we don't see how there are any changes that you could make that would make this releasable," which, God, that's gotta be the worst thing to hear. And that was it. At the time, I was sort of like, good. I felt like I don't want to chop it up and water it down.
Yeah.
And so he goes, "It's not a fucked up crazy movie, nor is it a palatable PG horror movie."
Right.
But then, as time went on, nobody wanted the film. It sat on a shelf for almost 3 years, and I was like, "This sucks." I never gave up on it, but it did not seem like things were going to turn out good.
Do we know? Did he have the rights at this point, or did Universal? Oh, we're getting there.
Yeah, we are.
You're
highlighted
fantastic.
line.
Love.
We were so close. So he mentioned at the time that they were making movies like the Flintstones, Universal. And so he was like, of course they didn't want it just that point. And so instead of letting it live on a shelf, he acquired the rights.
Good.
Thank fuck.
Okay, so he probably had to buy them back from them.
He had to buy them back.
That's so fucked.
I'm wondering if that is part of the budget.
Yeah, that could be.
You know what I mean?
I
like,
could see that being the case.
Is he countering, or is he factoring that in? So MGM was at one point in line to pick up the title after some cuts, removing some of the blood and murder, which I'm like, what do you have left?
Yeah, that's most of the movie.
To give it an R rating. Yeah. So Rob Zombie let it slip that negotiations were underway with MGM while interviewing about Ben Affleck's MTV's Movie House show, and made some like joking comments about the film. A few days later, MGM backed away from the deal. So they're probably pretty pissed, which is lame on them.
God, that's so awful.
But thankfully, he sold it to Lionsgate Entertainment, who finally released the film in 2003. So, thank fuck. So Lionsgate purchased both the R and unrated versions, and domestic theater releases got the R. Unrated version would go obviously to home video and DVD.
Makes sense. Do you know what version we would have watched? What's the time difference on them?
I actually didn't note that.
I
was gonna say, I don't know if we watched the unrated.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we would know.
Probably. Yeah. I feel like if we're asking ourselves, it wasn't the unrated.
I think we got the tame one.
Okay,
yeah.
great. Cool.
But internationally, they released both versions, which I think is really
Oh.
interesting. So I appreciate that Lionsgate was like,
Mhm.
we'll take both. We'll do something
Yeah.
with the two of them.
Let the people decide.
Yeah, they can
Love.
decide. Rob Zombie said, quote, one of the people working at Lionsgate at the time was a guy named Peter Block, who was really into doing genre stuff. He was a really good dude. Everybody there was really cool. Lionsgate was kind of a small, felt kind of small and very personable. I think they had passed on the movie at some point. And then someone there was like, no, we want to see it. Years later, they went back and they took a look at it, and that's why they grabbed it. So love that someone there
Someone
was
saved
rooting
it.
for
Yeah.
it.
Good.
We're rounding the corner here. Can you guess how much it made in theaters?
Ooh.
This was a hard one for me. I have opening weekend and then I have worldwide.
Okay.
I was actually kind of shocked. It's not great. Just putting that out there.
I don't think this. Well, we also don't know what its budget is. I was gonna say
That's-
I
I
don't think I
know.
made it. It's made its budget back, but I don't know what its budget is.
I know it's a tough one.
Like 10 mil somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So in its opening weekend, it made 3.4 million. So if we're
It's a good
looking-
opening weekend.
I know, I'm
It's
actually-
a really
I'm
good
kind of
opening
shocked
weekend.
by this.
Yeah.
For how diabolical it is.
Yeah.
And then it made 12.6 million domestically and
Okay.
16.8 worldwide. So it probably
Not terrible.
could have just made its budget back. But we
Yeah.
don't know how much marketing.
Yeah, depending on.
I'm curious if any of the House of a Thousand Corpses like Maze, even though it was retitled.
Yeah.
I'm curious if that
helped.
helps. They like didn't have to market it because it was kind of being marketed.
Yeah, people were already watching footage from it.
So
That's
it could
true.
have just made its money back.
Interesting.
Like I said, it kind of goes on to it had horribly mixed reviews from everybody. Going on to DVD, it obviously created a cult following. We also got Devil's Rejects from it, 3 from Hell. So critics and audience response, it surprisingly has a 6 out of 10 on IMDb.
Hey, I saw on Letterboxd the reviews were pretty favorable.
I brought some in.
Yeah. Yay!
They were so funny. It has a 22 critic score on
I
Rotten
did see
Tomatoes
that. Yeah.
and 56. Not surprised. Not surprised.
Yeah.
And a 3.2 out of 5 on Letterboxd. So
Wow. Yeah, I feel like again
Yeah.
it's either your thing or it's not.
yeah, absolutely.
There's no in the middle.
So I brought some Letterboxd reviews because now
Yes.
it's my new favorite thing to
Love.
do.
Obsessed.
The
Do you
first-
have a Letterboxd yet?
No.
That's
I have
so
ours,
funny.
and that's it. That's how I look at everything.
Good.
I just use ours as a vessel to look
Amazing.
at this. So
Amazing.
the first one I have is Jennifer Coolidge hosts a fun little Halloween gallery,
Yes.
and while Dwight Schrute talks about Battlestar Galactica and gets violently murdered by Riff Raff from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I did have a moment where I was like, is that Jennifer Coolidge?
When she comes out,
it really
it's
looks
terrifyingly
like it. Yeah.
accurate
yeah.
to her. The next
Glad
one
I'm
is
not the only one.
no, not at all. Especially because I read that first and then I watched it, and I was like,
yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
that is her. The
It
next
was
one,
only the voice that made me realize that it wasn't.
oh yeah.
that
Not,
was what cued me.
sounds
in.
nothing like her. Next one is being able to hear Red Hot Pussy Liquor on the big screen was phenomenal.
Incredible.
We have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh no.
And then my last one, I knew you were gonna hate that one. That one was personally for you. It's for making me watch Halloween. Just kidding. The last one I have, this is how I imagine the slightly racist white country girls with Bible passages in their Instagram bios at my university act like when they get home.
Honestly, yeah, same.
And I was like, yeah,
It's exactly what I picture. Yep. Yep.
So like I said about the ending,
Mhm.
that's where the budget comes in. They basically like kind of the studio kind of threw money at him to shoot something else. He talks about it saying, quote, I knew the ending sucked, so I let it suck. And they said the movie's great, but the ending sucks. And I know, so they give me more money.
Wow.
We shot more elaborate ending, bigger sets, the whole razzmatazz.
Ah.
So
Do we know how it originally ended? Versus
it
what-
was the grandpa being revealed.
Oh,
as
okay,
the,
yeah, got it.
which
Yeah.
he terrifies me. And if anything,
Yeah.
that actor does a great job of being
Yeah,
just disgusting.
he's horrifying for sure.
Rob Zombie kind of speaks to the reactions of people to this film,
Mm-hmm.
and in a retrospective interview saying that for a lot of years he was actually dissatisfied with the film.
Oh.
Saying, quote, "You go in with the idea of what you want to do, but your idea and skills don't match." And I know that when I watch it,
No.
that's why I'm like, no one tell this man anything. He's just making passion projects.
Yeah.
He usually takes. I feel like he funds a lot of things on
I'm sure.
his own. So he goes, and now when I watch it, I can appreciate it because I would never make that movie. You can only make something like that when you don't know what you're doing. Sometimes it makes for a great thing to come. You go crazy on shit that you would never do now because you know too much, and back then you're naive to all this.
Yeah.
And then in just like an ending quote from him, he kind of, again, as a retrospective, I think it was only a couple of years ago, he kind of laughs about how he got fired from Universal. I think at the time that he was doing this interview, they had a House of 1,000 Corpses in the Florida location of Universal.
Oh, wild.
He's like, it's so funny that like how much they want this here and appreciate House of 1,000 Corpses when they literally were like, this is awful and we don't want to be associated with it. And ending on a quote from him, he said, "I remember when House of 1,000 Corpses came out, every review basically says something along the lines of worst movie ever made. I hate this movie. And now people say that was your best movie. You've been chasing it ever since." Which makes me sad because I think this is his best movie. And just to be told, and it's just like, give your film, give your art some time.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, and it's also, I both relate to that sense of like the skill and the ambition not matching. And at the same time, like some of my favorite films come from that place. Like there's something really satisfying about watching a filmmaker reach for something really big, even if they don't 100% get it.
Yeah.
Just because you so often don't see people reaching at all.
Yeah. I mean, again, like it's so funny watching these two movies together because like in my eyes, Halloween feels like such a student film, but so does this in very different ways.
In totally different ways.
And I feel like if you're gonna like, that's why like, you know, I can have my viewpoints, but at the same time, like they're both trying to do the same thing.
And I think they both deserve to be
appreciate that.
treated with this, like, you deserve to walk into both of them with the same level of respect.
Yeah.
Even if
you're
not necessarily going to get the same things out of each of them. It's,
Yeah. So that's House of 1,000 Corpses. I feel like you finally got to see the true, like, again,
I feel like I get it a little bit more now. It's still not for me, but I like it a lot more.
I think I would be more gagged.
Yeah.
If you were like, I loved it. I'd be like, are you okay?
Yeah.
What's changing?
What's happening?
Is it me?
Here?
Am I wearing you down? It's Rob Zombie.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're part of, you have to.
You're
just
either in
go
or you're
in for
out.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the colors especially,
God damn,
love
why were the colors so good?
Yeah, they're really satisfying.
Again, off mic, because you were kind of talking about an unconfirmed fact of Halloween, with the blue and orange, and that scene I was saying when what's her name's character, Denise, when she walks into that big room and she's lit up blue and the whole, I was like, it has no right
to be that good
for a Rob Zombie film.
Yeah.
That's
There's some
what the
shots.
hell.
I think one of the notes that I like made to myself, and this is mean, but like one of the notes I made to myself was like, I feel like if I'd watched this with the sound off, or
Ooh. The dialogue it's especially in 2025.
It's tough. It's a tough watch
to listen to.
But like if I'd either watched it with the sound off or looked at like a series of stills from it, I would be like, this is a masterpiece.
For being his first film, I mean, again, he did music videos, so he's very like, this is my vision.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do.
And he's got a really strong visual sense.
Yeah. Even them all walking out to the graveyard is so good. And that hallway with all the bodies.
There is like one aerial shot of like a cemetery with like with like all the graves coming out from the center that I was like, that's got no right to be that
I know.
good.
It's
like,
this film really is, I would say even if you're not a Rob Zombie film, go into it so you can be like, there's no right for this to be so good.
Yeah, there's like so many moments like that where it's like, why?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Did you
know?
Yeah. And then you have the dialogue that you have. So I love Rob Zombie, but I feel bad because people really fought against it, but and now they call it his best work. How dare you?
Yeah. The world doesn't deserve Rob Zombie.
Truly.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, happy Halloween.
Halloweeners.
That was a really fun combo.
It was good.
Yeah.
It feels. I'm excited to dive in. I'm actually have the Halloween tree, one of your
Yay!
very first episode,
Oh,
Rex,
love.
on my watch list.
Oh my god, I'm
Yeah.
so happy. Can't wait to hear what
really,
you think of
I'm
it.
saving it.
Yay! Well,
I'm
because
like-
it's that old school hand animation that's just like,
Yeah.
it feels so
Perfect.
nostalgic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and
I'm
very
saving that for Halloween
yeah.
weekends. or this weekend.
full of dead leaves, full of pumpkins, full of all the things that Halloween does not have in
I know,
abundance.
truly.
And I'm also so excited for our next pairing.
I know. I feel like
It's-
finally, long time
yeah.
coming, the perfect November.
Perfect November and
Um,
a tie-in to, I mean, since spoiler alert, I'm covering Crimson Peak, and
Spoiler.
you know we've got a new GDT in theaters right now, so it's kind
Yeah.
of a good.
Can't
And
wait to
it's
see
a
it.
Guillermo del Toro. I got to see Frankenstein at the festival, and it very is like in conversation. I think with Crimson Peak, so it's a good time to be doing it. And
And-
Al,
Tom Hiddleston. Oh
Yes.
god, one of my favorite men of all time.
Ugh.
I love him,
And he's so
low
great
key,
in
and
it.
he's just the best. And I have watched so many interviews with that man in my life, so
Ugh.
many hours of my
Ugh.
time. Also, just no, never mind. Not related. Never mind. I was
Well,
going to
now
go on a
you
rant
have
about
to.
something like adjacent to that, but that's not what this podcast is. And I am doing Sleepy Hollow.
yeah, so it's gonna be a good like gothic horror romance pairing. Which I'm very stoked for. And I
I'm
also
so
wanted
excited.
to shout out supporter Katie McKenzie. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
supporting the pod,
Thanks, Katie.
Yeah, it's
Nice
can't,
to see.
can't believe that we've been doing this for 2 years and it wouldn't be possible without y'all. So
I know, truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our little birthday, which is so
Yeah.
crazy to think of. So and
we
got
may be the
pumpkin for
tricks,
the-
you are the treats.
I know, truly.
Yeah.
A lot of tricks in this one
Yes,
for us.
truly.
Is that it?
I think
Are we
that's
gonna go
it.
all
Do we-
have a good Halloween week?
Yeah, happy
together?
Halloween, everybody.
Can you guys send us pictures of your Halloween outfits?
I would love that.
Are you going as anything?
I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm doing for Halloween yet. I
Do you
don't
wanna guess
have.
what I'm being? Do you know?
Wait.
Did I tell you?
You probably didn't. I've already forgotten. Tell me.
I'm going as a Camp Green Lake kid from Holes.
Yes.
Fun
Oh,
fact, last year I put it on the calendar to make sure I did it this
that's
year.
So.
So, if
I
anyone
remember you
sees me
telling
out-
me that last year.
Yeah. I put it and I held true. So the
Oh my
orange
god, I love
jumpsuits
that.
are
Yeah.
gotta distress them a little bit.
That's
and
so
then obviously I'm a little. What do we say? I'm a Jacob's ladder.
Yeah,
like,
a
tail.
Jacob's Ladder demon.
Yeah. So I got my little tail this episode.
Yes.
But yeah, hopefully you guys all have a safe Halloween. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Have one.
Have a
Have
safe,
a safe Halloween.
That's an order.
Truly.
Demand, have a safe Halloween.
Hope you make it.
Jesus
I don't know why the
Christ.
fuck I said that. Anyways, on that note, thanks, Warren.
Thanks, Trav.
Thanks, Trev. Thanks, Theo.
Thanks, Theo. Thanks, you
Deanna.
guys. Thanks, Al.
Thank you, guys. And thanks for listening to Splice Splatter.
The official film podcast of the Highgarden Entertainment in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where classic horror.
Modern gore.
And until next time.
Ooh,
right.
yeah.